Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
When it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
TexAgs Live.
I feel like I should be listening to the theme song from the Jeffersons. You know, we're moving on up.
We will develop men, we will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
It's a blessing to be in this position, and we're just thankful to be here. We're thankful to have the opportunity to go out there and play in front of the 12 man.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
It's been special. The 12th man this past week was unbelievable.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Buchanan?
Nuño.
What was that Nuño? Like, it looks like you have a thought in your head.
No, well, I mean, I have a lot of them.
Yeah?
But probably none that will.
Make the air?
Yeah. And probably certain things, you know, should probably be left unsaid, or at least said in a specific, community. Or, but I wouldn't have been too upset if, you know, you mentioned what I said, because, you know, I said what I said.
Well, you know, sometimes you can just decode what people mean by the way they speak. And this is TexAgs Live, and there's no double meaning in that.
No, not at
We
all.
are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It's the go hour, which actually does mean go.
Yeah.
It used to mean Gabe and Olin, but it means to go now. So
Well, it was
that
double.
actually means what we said.
It was double.
Yeah.
You gave it Olin while you go to work.
Yeah.
8 to 9. Isn't that considered travel time?
Yeah, I think so, if you
Yeah.
show up to work late. I like to get there at 8. Anywho, that press conference yesterday.
Yes.
A couple things I wanted to get into from that.
Okay.
So I enjoyed hearing DJ Hicks speak about, I asked him a question about just having to wait his time. Because remember how highly touted he was,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
And I just...
Remember how broken the folks up at Oklahoma was?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I believe there's a couple media members that were like, went after him personally, right?
Called him names.
Yeah. But to be so highly touted, always been great. Coach's son has done things at the highest level, right? And you get to somewhere and you got to wait.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that is, that's got to be hard for anybody.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're waiting your turn. And yeah, you get these appearances here and there. But I asked him about, let's hear from him yesterday, because I think it's interesting in today's world where there's a higher contract waiting for you to start somewhere. That's just kind of if you are a 4 or 5 star level kid, even a 3-star level kid, there's somebody who say, hey, you can start here, we'll pay you a little bit more. Sure, you won't be close to your family. Sure, you won't be as happy, but look what we're paying you. Oh, we only have the Elko sound. Okay, my bad. Here's Elko talking about DJ Hicks. Sorry.
We're excited with the guys that we have in the program that will take the next step. You know, I think we've talked about DJ, Cassius Howell. I think everybody forgets about Al Regis. Yeah, Al Regis was a very productive member of our front last year. Rylan Kennedy, certainly a kid who's had a lot of success, and we anticipate taking the next step forward. And so I think it starts there, and that right there puts together a group that can compete in this conference pretty consistently and at a pretty high level. You know, then you have to go out and you've got to fill depth, and we were able to fill enough depth in there of guys who've played a lot of football. You know, Tyler Onyedem has played a lot of football. TJ Searcy has played a lot of football. Dayon Hayes has played a lot of football. And then you add a little bit of quality in youth, you know, and Sam Impemba comes from outside. Kendall Jackson and Solomon Williams have to develop. Marco Jones and the 3D tackles that we bring in. And you certainly have plenty of SEC bodies, and so we got to find a way to make them successful.
How confident are you that they're making that next step?
Oh, I mean, we won't know until we know. It's hard to Yeah, I'm confident, but it's middle of spring, so I'm confident that we're making the next step. I'm confident that we'll get there, but I don't know that in the middle of spring I'm making those statements right now.
So that was a different soundbite, but that one I think touches on the whole idea here, and I loved his final part of that answer. I left that that follow-up question and answer because he was like, yeah, I'm confident right now. But what does that mean right now? We're just spring. Like, we're trending in the right direction, but we won't know until we're deeper into this process.
Yeah, and I understand that. When someone on a coach, then when you're 2/3 of the way, not through spring, and you start saying, well, yeah, I don't know what spring tells you. My personal question is, what good is spring? Then what do you gain from spring if you're not finding out if guys are making how much progress they're making?
I think what he's saying there is, I'm not going to give you a headline hot take like, yeah, well, we're way ahead of schedule in spring, where I've got to see the process play out. And I think there is a spring process, a summer process, fall camp process.
What I want to know and try to get at is, well, what are the signs that you look for in this part of the process?
Yeah.
Why do you feel like these guys are doing well?
That's a good question.
And we don't get to see them actually practice.
Uh-huh.
If we saw them practice, then I could look at it and say, oh, look what DJ Hicks did against, say, Chase Pasantes.
Right.
Or even, well, Reed Adams not out there, but somebody like that, say now, hey, this guy's really holding his own. He's making some play. Then I know. Until we actually see that, which will be never, which will be in a game.
Right.
Until we actually see that, because I don't think we'll see it in the spring game either. We are beholden to what the coach tells us.
Yeah, and I would assume, with all the experience that they have, there's certain benchmarks that they see, certain twitch movements, certain things are like, okay, all right.
That would have been the answer I was looking for.
Yeah, but I think what he is trying to say is like, yeah, I think we look good for whatever his set of reasons are, but I won't know until I know. And it's kind of like, I'll give you an example, OB. We won't know Aggie football for a few weeks into the season. Like, we're not going to, maybe Notre Dame will give us a lot of signs in the third week of the year, but we probably won't know who this team is until a month in, right?
I think in Notre Dame, we
sure got a big glimpse.
We got clues or glimpses because we saw, wait, these guys are not getting to the quarterback with the regularity that we expected. Now, they were getting rid of the ball fast. I'll give them that. But also, this run defense is breaking down, and they're getting these big.
And there were tackling issues in that game, too. But if you look at the last two 8-4 seasons, okay, 21 in this past year.
Yeah.
What we saw in 21 was a team that started poorly, middle of the season turned it on, finished poorly. Okay?
Were they 8-4 and 21?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
It all goes together.
Yeah, and they didn't get a bowl game because COVID. Anyway, 24, start off great outside of Notre Dame, 7-1, and a crash landing. But some of the signs that you're talking about that kind of told us a little bit about this team, we did see in wins and in losses.
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes they'll tell you how good they're looking in the spring. We're doing this, we're doing that. But, well, what do you see as the coach? Well, we don't really know. I just think there's kind of a mixed message there.
Yeah, I don't know if you meant it that way. I think he's just like, yes, but we'll see.
Okay, we'll see. I can go with that, but then why are they looking good?
Well, that would have been the nice follow-up, right? What specifically are you seeing that makes you feel like they're moving in the right? And I don't think coaches want to give that kind of information out.
Well, that's probably true too.
Yeah.
But that's what we're there to try to glean as much of that knowledge as we can.
Sure. Yeah. Do you? Because going back to you have to see it with your own eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel, based on that soundbite, based on personnel, based on X, Y, and Z, that the defensive line is better?
I don't know. It's only midway through spring.
Thank you.
You know what? I'll say this. I think you know what you got with Albert Regis. I thought he was the most consistent player they had last year. I think when I've seen flashes from DJ Hicks. I've seen flashes.
Cassius Howell?
I saw flashes from Cassius Howe. I also saw reasons to be concerned with Cassius Howe against the run primarily, in the South Carolina game specifically.
Rylan Kennedy?
I know one time Rylan Kennedy, I think, did he chase down DJ Lagway and get a sack where Lagway stumbled and fell? But other than that, I could come back to him having a shot at Quinn Ewers and missing. But he got there. Now, he should be able to
finish the job.
Finish the job. But I of all the guys that I have the most optimism for, it really is DJ Hicks, because I've seen it in flashes.
Optimism for Hicks, and then Regis comfort. He's going to bring it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think A&M. I'm less concerned about A&M in the interior defensive line than I am on the ends.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that based on what I've seen in games, because we can go out to these practices for 30 minutes. And we can report things as best we can. There's nothing we're going to see that's going to.
Some of the transfers I'm really intrigued to get my eyes on. Unfortunately, a lot of these practices are during the show, so I haven't been able to go out there. But I want to see Cersei. I've heard great things. I want to see Pemba. I want to see Onyedem. I want to see these guys. And again, it's part of the process. We'll hopefully see them next Saturday.
What are we going to see? I mean, do they look good in there? Yeah, but they should if they're at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Guys that play for Texas A&M shouldn't walk out there looking like me.
Okay. I remember this is my first real welcome to TexAgs moment was the fall practice of 21.
Okay.
And I remember watching Michael Clemens, this Greek god, to my left, and I'm like, oh, he's an NFL player.
Okay.
And at that point, I don't think he was considered one of these guys, right? And I remember it was just, they weren't doing much. And I could just tell, oh, there's something different about this guy. Turned out to be true that year. That year, what I saw in that little small sample set really turned out to be true. So sometimes you can get glimpses of what they'll be. It's not always based on being a Greek god. We know that.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you get glimpses and you say, hey, this guy looks really good. But until last year I was watching the spring game. And I'm watching Nick Scorton. And he's, can't hit the quarterback, but he's beating the guy. The guy tried to block him. But it was Hunter Herb. Well, of course you're going to beat that guy. I don't even think he's with the program anymore. He's a backup tackle. You're supposed to be an All-American caliber guy. So I think even in the spring, you can't, until I see ones-on-ones consistently, I just really don't know what I got.
By the way, we are currently in the holistic planning cool zone.
The cool zone.
Yeah, it's very cool here.
It is.
Well, they can help you with your estate planning. That's something that most of us dread talking about, but estate planning, your taxes, and also they can help you do what I'm doing, the old switcheroo.
Okay. Well, they'll help you with your investments. And that will include, if you are so inclined, investing in pro sports. So if you want to invest in the Mavericks, which I don't know why you'd do that after last night, but if you wanted to, team that ships off its best player. But if you were so inclined to buy low and try to sell high, maybe holistic planning could help you invest in pro sports.
For our audience out there, I think you were like me. I thought Luka was going to go off against the Mavs.
Yeah.
He went off against the Mavs. I guarantee you, if you're a Mavs fan, you were probably thinking he's going to go for 40 plus.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to score 50. I'm
kind
of
disappointed. The weird thing was,
if
you're a Mavs fan, you weren't rooting for the Lakers, but you were rooting for Luka last night. So you could have invested, perhaps, in the Mavs. But if you do, understand that it may take you a while to recoup some money.
Yeah. If you want to be a part of the conversation this morning, you can do it multiple ways. You can call us, you can text us, you can call us on the hotline. That's the Bucky's Catering hotline, 979-693-1150. Text that same number, 979-693-1150. We go around the room behind the glass, left to right is Nick Savage. Nick, good morning.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
What's up?
Oh, I'm good. A question. How do y'all take in, or do you even take in, the Masters at all whatsoever? I know we did a couple of years ago when Sam Bennett was making his run, but just like this year, they're not super, any Aggie intrigue. Are you still going to watch it? You going to take it in?
I'm going to be 1,000% honest. If I'm with my dad, I'm watching all the Masters. Okay, my dad is a huge golf fan, and sometimes I begrudgingly watch, but I like being with my pops, so I watch. sometimes when the storylines hit me before the Masters, I'm like, oh, I got to watch this. I want to see what Phil's going to do. Tiger, can he do it again? Like, there's certain storylines that I pay attention to. Sammy obviously is one of them. But oftentimes, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's the Masters. I guess I should catch up by Saturday.
I won't watch it unless if I do watch it, it'll be Sunday near the end when I know who's, if it's close and I have nothing else to watch, I'll turn it on. I once watched Masters one time in '96. I was in a Masters pool.
Okay, Curtis Strange.
No, I had Greg Norman.
Okay.
And I had a 6-stroke lead going to the last.
And then he lost.
And I lost. I was counting the money.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna win $200.
Who ended up winning that Masters?
I don't even know. I just know I didn't win.
Yeah. Huh. So no, are you going to watch it, Nick?
Yeah, of course. I was going to follow that up, but I know I think I can tell where this is going to go. Where do you think the Masters ranks in terms of like American sporting events? Like you got the Super Bowl, Masters, NCAA tournament.
I would say it's right after NCAA tournament for like where the casuals watch.
I think more people will watch the Masters than they will like the Final Four.
I don't know. Do you know that off the top of your head, Nick? What the
I don't know, but I would agree with that, OB. That just seems, a lot of casual golfers.
A lot of times the Final Four depends on who's in there.
Yeah.
And now the first weekend of the NCAA tournament, when everybody's into it and wants to check in their brackets, maybe that first weekend will outdraw the Masters. I don't know, but the Masters will be one of the top, definitely in the top 5 of sporting events.
Would you rather watch the Masters
or the WNBA?
I don't know.
Masters.
I saw what
forever.
Portnoy posted a video of Caitlin Clark. Excuse me, I couldn't remember her last name for a minute. Just balling against dudes. No. Would you rather watch that or a high-level UFC fight?
Masters. Yeah. Masters.
High-level boxing match.
Who's fighting?
The two best.
Okay, back in the day.
Canelo Alvarez.
Back in the day when boxing was
boxing.
Really legitimate, I enjoyed watching boxing.
I would rather watch
Muhammad Ali,
the UFC in French than the Masters in English. That's just me.
Okay.
I'd rather watch. I would not rather watch Logan Paul. Is it Logan Paul? Jake Paul? Whoever fought Mike Tyson. One of the Paul. That was the worst.
Paul McCartney.
I would rather watch Paul McCartney fight Mike Tyson.
So would I, actually.
Was it Logan or Jake? I don't remember.
I think it was Jake.
It was Jake? Okay.
I think so.
Anyway, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. What would you rather watch, Caitlin Torn? The Masters or Jake Paul versus Tyson?
Or WNBA?
I don't know.
Or the WNBA?
Maybe not the WNBA.
Or Luka?
Probably Luka.
Good answer.
The Masters is just, I always fall asleep watching it.
You know what I don't get about golf? And I know there's a lot of golf fans out there, so I'm not trying to be, but why do they ever show like a guy make a putt and then they show it again like in slow motion? I'm like, how much slower can it be? What did I miss the first time?
I don't know when it's coming out. It'll probably be a train wreck, but Happy Gilmore 2.
Oh,
Did you watch one?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think you liked it. Your response?
No, it was a typical Adam Sandler movie. It was amusing.
Torn? Did you like it?
Happy Gilmore?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Good movie.
I don't know if I'm getting the enthusiasm from the group that I expected. Okay, sorry.
Is that the one where he fights Bob Barker?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, that was the best part.
And he said a word that you can't say. Never mind. Go ahead.
Well, we got a question from Sandman, our good friend from TU, and he asked for record predictions for A&M's 2025 football season.
That's so dumb, Sandman.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Like nobody knows Jack.
12-0.
12-0.
Look, I am very.
Let me actually see the guys actually practice and play with my own eyes.
Look, record. I don't know. Whatever I say is going to be held against me, and I don't even know what I want to say. Like, there are certain days I'm like, dude, I think we're going to win some of those, 1 or 2 of those road games. We'll be 9-3. There's days I look at it, I go, we're going to be 7-5.
As of today, I would pick 8-4.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you the 4 they lost because I'm not that overwhelmed by the prospect of, oh my gosh, we got to go on the road to play Missouri.
Yeah, but going on the road in Baton Rouge.
I was there the last time they won.
1994.
94.
Okay.
And they should have won in what year was that? 22 or
21? They were robbed. They won.
Yeah. So
Damani, shout out.
But anyway, so I'm in Texas. Why am I going to be going 90 miles and thinking they can't win?
Yeah, everything is. It's like baseball. Remember, everybody had to make a decision on baseball day 2. Now, there's a lot of evidence to say that they're going in a certain direction, but I like to see how things play out. Right now, I don't like their chances of winning all those road games. Can they win of the super hard ones? I don't consider Missouri today a super hard road game.
Are they going to be able to play zone defense, or are they going to be able to stop the run? If you can tell me, yes, they're going to be effective in zone defense, and yes, they can stop the run. I'm saying 10-2.
And okay, let me give you one more and get 4th and 1s.
I think they're going to do that.
Okay. All right.
I'm assuming Le'Veon's going to be healthy. Okay, we're sorry, Torn.
No, y'all are good. Jesse just sent in
Hi, Jesse.
text on the YouTube, and he said he has the Masters
I wish I
on-
had his girl.
he has the Masters on mute right now listening to TexAgs, so it's a good start to the day.
Again,
most people like to watch us on mute. That's what it is. Have you seen us?
If you're watching golf, why do you need someone telling you what happened? Well, he swung that club.
You know what? When I worked in the news
Yes, he
industry, people told us, hey, sports highlights are going away because of social media, right? And sports news. So you don't really need to do highlights anymore because you can get it all. Guess what? I can get all the updates on golf on my phone too.
Oh, I like to watch. I still like
you know
to watch
who y'all
highlights.
should argue with in a little bit?
Who's that?
Stephen McGee.
Is he here?
He's I don't know. He'll be on the show, but I know he thinks the polar opposite of what y'all are saying.
I appreciate the beauty that is the Masters. It's just not one of my
I
go-to
know. I'm not
things,
saying y'all are
right?
insulting it at all.
I'd rather watch the Masters over Wimbledon, and I think Wimbledon is awesome. I just don't. I got to know the storylines. It's everything. Like for UFC, I have to know the storylines. If I don't, I don't care. Any basketball game that's on, I like to watch. Any football game is on, I like to watch. Other sports, I need to know some of the storylines.
All I'm saying about golf is why do you necessarily need someone to tell you what's happened, and why do you need a second look at it? It moves so slow that what am I going to miss from the first time?
Do you think the folks at Brian Broadcasting are panicking right now? They're pacing like, are they ever going to go to a break?
Okay, let's go to a break.
No, let's talk about what we'd do if we had a break.
Oh, I know what I'd do. I'd make a break for 1775.
Would you break you off a little piece of brisket?
Oh yeah, I'd break that brisket in half. It wouldn't be hard, because it's so soft and tender. It just kind of falls apart, just like the ribs. You pick up the ribs, it might just fall off the bone.
Break down the taste for me.
Let me tell you, I'll break down that taste. Let me tell you that the brisket is succulent and tasty, and the ribs are just soft, and the sausage with the jalapeno and the cheese. And they all just say, it's like they're inviting you in. Come and taste me.
And by the way,
and you're going to love me.
On your way to Snook,
on the way to
not
the
break
cemetery.
Too hard, because it's going to be on your left-hand side if you're coming from College Station, and then you can break dance your way into there.
Yeah. So, ride your brakes just a little bit.
Yeah.
Make that left-hand turn in.
Can you moonwalk off the stage?
Oh, I
no, actually,
would probably hurt myself.
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea. It's 1775, the website, 1775txbbq.com. Yeah, and you can call 979-492-6241. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News. And Social Center, Caitlin Torn is there, and people are commenting on our various topics this morning.
Yes.
I don't like the way I said that. I said that like, like, like a roller coaster voice, like goes up and down.
Well, Trey and Shiner says, I'm so happy to no longer hear the Buzz Captain Obvious quote, the best way to watch is to do it together.
It really is the best way to do it, though.
To win?
To win, yeah.
It's to do it together.
Yeah. The best way to do this show is when we do it together.
Yeah. I've never saw a guy, a one-man team win.
No, me neither.
No. Huh. I too am glad that I'm wary of coaches with with catchphrases. I've learned that. Jimbo was a master of the catchphrase.
He had a few.
Yeah. Buzz had some few. I'm not saying that they were bad, but they were okay.
Here's the thing, guys. I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna be
one of the reasons I like Elko so much.
Captain Obvious here.
Okay.
I don't care if the offense is slow and ugly. I don't care if it's fast. What I care about is results.
Yep.
So if we have a mean coach that doesn't talk to the media and plays an ugly brand of football, baseball, basketball, I don't care.
Just win.
If you're winning at a high level and competing for championships, I'm good with it. I mean, of course, you want to have integrity, leadership, loyalty, selfless, all the stuff that I talk about in the association ad. Of course. But the brand of sports, I will find a reason to get down with it. Like the Buzz teams. What we loved about them was those were great guys. They dove for loose balls, right? If they didn't dive for loose balls, but they hit every three, I'd probably like them too.
You'd probably actually like them more.
Maybe.
Because you like the aesthetics of it, plus winning with style. But your point is well taken. As long as you win, winning is the ultimate promotion.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, what else you got over there, Torn?
Let's do one more.
Ross from East Texas just asked,
Hi, Ross.
Buckyball a catchphrase?
I believe they started doing that when he was in high school.
Right,
when he was
but it's
coaching
not the coach's for catchphrase.
The media made it.
It's something. It's like I don't know. I'm trying to think of Steel Curtain. When the Pittsburgh Steelers had that great defense, they got the Steel Curtain.
They didn't come out and say, "Hey, by the way, guys, I just want you to know, address us as the Steel Curtain."
Yeah, it was something that was developed organically, and I think that's the case with Buckyball.
Next year, Nuño. I didn't start telling people that. Billy did, or you did. Sorry. And then I just kind of, all right, that's who I am. You're right.
So
Slow B. You didn't make that up.
Flow B or Slow B?
Slow B and Flow B.
Is that a Lucci thing?
Yeah.
I like the one who calls me 9021 Olin, but I'm not wearing a black t-shirt today. I even like, they call me Neck Rolling because I wear the...
When you had the tracheotomy thing around your neck?
When I had the gym, I'd wear the towel around my neck.
Cover the hole from the tracheotomy?
All the hickeys that Irma gave me. I don't mind, being labeled. I don't mind, Flow B, okay. I don't know what it means, but all right.
Let's talk to our QB1.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Steve McGee's here. He's early. He loves the Masters.
Why isn't he in?
Well, he said, I want to hear what you're talking about, then I'll join you.
Oh, okay.
All right. So that's how he does his show prep. It's all good. We'll do that on the other side. Right now, we're talking about Rollo Insurance, 888-44-ROLLO, RolloInsurance.com. The boys drove me to school. Well, they went to school, but they drove me. They got out. They're going to be 17 June 23rd. So it's coming up. They don't have their license yet because I suck as a dad. Hey, I want you to take your time. Also, there's, I think, 70 hours of driving you're supposed to do to get your license. I think it's 70. I might be wrong on the number. Maybe 60. Okay? Whatever the number is, it's a lot. Times 2 at the same time, it's just like, and we do these little 15-minute drives in College Station, right? It takes a long time. I don't know where I'm going with this, but it takes a long time to get there. My point is, I'm going to have to get them insurance. And I'm glad that I have Morgan at Rollo Insurance because I can call them. I've actually already done it. Actually, Elizabeth's done it because I lie. I don't handle the insurance. Elizabeth does it. She calls. We've got the right setup, and they can do the right setup for you. 888-44-ROLLO. Go to RolloInsurance.com/TexAgs. That's 888-44-ROLLO. RolloInsurance.com/TexAgs. And we are back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations, Nuño OB, and Stephen McGee, our QB1 from Paragon Financial. Stephen, good morning, buddy.
Morning.
Masters Week, that's your thing, right?
Unbelievable week. Best week in sports. Were y'all watching?
I may not watch until Saturday or Sunday.
What?
Yeah, I know. I'm one of those. Yeah.
I won't watch it.
At all?
Probably not.
Come on.
I'm going to see.
What are you going to do?
I can't spend, I don't know how many, 6 hours a day watching this.
There's a wonderful thing, like the background noise, the voices. It's just perfect. It's serene.
If I'm by a TV, it'll be on. But it's not appointment viewing for me until certain storylines are either told to me getting to it, or during, right? Like,
I get it.
I have so much content that comes my way that I'm like, I almost like, I don't know.
You're gonna go grapple.
I would like to do it. It's getting better.
It is getting better, man. I was worried about you for a while. Clark Kent.
People look at me different, man. People treat me well now.
Ob, you don't like watching golf?
I don't watch golf. No, I said before, when I watch it, it would look. If I'm at home Sunday, around 4:00,
you'll put it on,
and I find out, there's a good race. I'm a good, close finish. I might turn it on.
Right.
But I don't know. 6 hours of watching guys do this in plaid pants.
Well, they don't all wear plaid pants.
I'll say this. One of the cool things about, I hate social media. I think you guys know that. You're not on it very much either. But one of the things I do like about it is if things do develop, I'll find out about it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, this guy's gone crazy on the back nine. I'm like, oh, okay, let me turn this on for a little bit. I do like it, but it's not appointment viewing.
Yeah. I think it's an acquired taste. It's like anything in life. I love to golf.
Mm-hmm.
I love green grass, right? So I'm like this old dad stage of life where, you stripe your yard and at least I do at my house. So really I appreciate the Masters tournament because the grass is perfect.
Yep.
Right? The grounds, the flowers, everything is just serene.
I could just drive through Nuño's neighborhood.
This is true. But you have to have a gate code to get in, and I don't have it. So.
No. And if you look at my yard, you're like, he doesn't know what he's doing.
So, I understand people that like to knock golf, but I love it.
Actually, and that's great. But if you're asking me if I'm going to be watching, the answer is probably not.
Hard no.
See,
would you rather watch baseball?
Not necessarily. You know what? At least it's not going to be a 6-hour game typically. But if the Rangers are playing and I think they're going to win, then I'd probably watch that over golf.
The look you gave me is the look I give. Like this weekend, there's a UFC on Saturday night.
Yep.
Volk's taking on Daniel Lopez. You're probably like, who? Volkanovski?
Yep.
So it just...
Well, can the three of us all agree that there's one sport, when it's on Saturday, we're all going to watch it?
College football.
You better damn
100%.
Yeah.
1,000. All right, let me ask you a college football question. Have you changed the way you analyze quarterbacks in the last 5 years based on what's happening in the NFL? What's trending? Because
we've had some arguments over the years.
But I think tell me if I'm saying this correctly. When I first met you in 21, I met you as a player, but re-met. You were more into pocket passing, Tom Brady statue as quarterbacks. Is that fair to say? People who see the field completely, not just run to one side and throw.
Right.
And the NFL's changing based on what has worked in high school and in college to more of this running attack quarterback that can launch. Have you kind of changed the way you look at an NFL quarterback?
No.
Okay.
I still want a quarterback. I firmly believe that you're not going to win in college at our level, and especially in the NIL world with teams aggregating skill sets. You have to have a great quarterback to win. Do I not like it when a quarterback can run? Obviously, no.
Right.
The point is to say that I first have to have a quarterback that can throw it. I got to be able to win from the pocket. I've yet to see at any level, whether you're talking about like a Jalen Hurts who completely flipped his game and now can win from the pocket. Is it a negative that he can also run to win? No, that's an incredible thing. That changes the game. We talk about X's and O's and how, as a defensive coordinator, when you have a quarterback that can run, it is a nightmare to defend that. But let me say it again. I've said it a million times. If the quarterback is a run-first guy, I don't believe you're going to win a championship with that guy. I think you have to have a quarterback that can throw and win from the pocket. If they take away his legs, he can stand in there and pick you apart.
Yep.
He's saying, hey, look, if y'all are going to blitz me, you're going to try to take away all the quarterback run game, I'm gonna pick you apart in the pass game. They have to prove that to me. But is it a negative that Pat Mahomes or Josh Allen or all these guys can move around and make plays? Absolutely not. That's a great thing. It's a great thing. But it can't come at the expense of their ability to win on third down. That's when quarterbacks make their money, is third down.
Is that why you were high? Because I know that's why I was high on Connor, was that he could throw, but also could move when he needed to.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he made those tight windows, like, not last year, but the years before, he made those throws. And there were some ones that, I remember the Miami game. I mean, he made some tight window throws. You're thinking, my gosh, this guy, there aren't many guys at the next level that can make those type of throws. I'm not sure what happened. I know that there was a system change there. I don't know if it was somewhere in the.
Well, he's revealed that he was really hurt.
Hurt, hopefully, for his sake, right? Because I think he has a lot of ability. Yep. But that doesn't mean that I don't love a quarterback like Marcel Reed. I do. I just want my quarterback, Marcel Reed, to be able to win every game if he has to from the pocket.
My question is, if we went back in time,
no, don't do
our
it.
discussion,
no,
and you have your choice to select, and you're the GM, you have your choice to select
Matthew
Lamar
Stafford
Jackson
or Stephen McGee. Matthew Stafford
or Danny Etling. Are you taking Lamar Jackson or Danny Etling? Because we argued about those guys.
Well, yeah.
And I believe that if you played today, if you, Stephen McGee, were playing today with the skill set you exhibited at Texas A&M, that you would be a more successful quarterback today than you were previously because of your ability to run. And I agree with you. We've always talked about, I like the running quarterbacks, but I never said that the guy can be successful by running if he's incompetent as a passer.
Yep. That's my knock on some of these running guys, right? I think that you've seen Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts 2.0 is what I like to say. Their early years in the NFL, I don't think that they were I think they took some huge leaps. I think that those leaps are uncommon at that level of sport, at that position, to become more competent passers. I think that they're more of exceptions to the rule. What I would say is the average running quarterback in college, I do not want to have as my quarterback.
I'm trying to find it. I can't find it, but I believe Brad Crawford, 247, said that he talked to some SEC coaches and they thought Marcel looked clueless at the end of the year from the pocket. And I'm like, did they look at the LSU game? Did they look at how he finished? I thought Marcel was actually really strong towards the end of the year. He did have a couple turnovers he'd like to have back. Some were not his fault. When you looked at Marcel as the season developed, did he have more of a mastery of the pocket?
I thought the Bowling Green first drive was one of the best drives I've seen Marcel Reed play. I thought he looked like he could win the Heisman on that drive. And then obviously the LSU game, he had the explosive plays with his legs. But, it's hard to say. LSU came in the game preparing for Connor, and then, they flipped the switch in the second series of the second half. And certainly it changes the dynamics of what you're going to do defensively when Marcel's out there versus Connor. I'm not going to put it all in that. He played phenomenally well. But I think that there were highs and lows. I think that's true of any young quarterback, that you're going to have really, really high moments and some low moments. And I think he's got to develop as a passer. I think he's got to prove that he can. The Bowling Green first drive, number one was there consistently. Number one is there. Like, hey, I'm throwing triple seam and it's single high zone. Well, yeah, that's bread and butter. That's exactly what you want to dial up for that. So I know I'm going to have my seam 18 and 22 right in the middle of those safety in the corner. Great. But what if it's not there?
Yep.
Right? Now I have to react. Now I'm going outside and progressing on to 2, down to my back on time. Right? It's got to be in rhythm. And that's where I think a lot of young quarterbacks struggle is they hold on the ball. They try to force it, right? Like the Texas game. So I thought, yeah, Texas has a great defense, but we got to be better at the quarterback position if we're going to win those types of games. And so extremely high ceiling. I think we all agree that the dude can play, right? But the steps for me are going to be him as a passer and progressing getting through reads. I think that's a big thing
How
for him.
much better were you at that in 2006 as opposed to 2005?
I wasn't very good at any of them. Bad was bad.
Come on.
And it got a little bit worse.
You're a fourth-round draft choice. You're a fourth-round draft choice.
Were you more comfortable?
Oh, I would say the biggest jump I took, as far as comfort level, I think was the spring of my sophomore year, going into my sophomore year, right? So very similar time as what Marcel's going. Like I took and I knew I was the starter going into the offseason, right? So
that makes a big difference knowing you're going to
be you're confident, you're ready to go. Like this is your team. I mean, Marcel, this is his team, right? Yeah. Now he's got to go prove it. The leashes are much shorter nowadays than they used to be. All right, this is show me football, right? This is a microcosm of the NFL. I think the next steps are you got to start cutting players. I don't know, is there free agent? Can we trade?
Coming.
Like that stuff needs to happen, but
it's already here.
If you're paying your quarterbacks that amount of money, you better put up. And there's no time anymore.
All right, let's hit a break. We'll come back with more. Right now, Brazos Running Company, located at Century Square. They're locally Aggie-owned and operated, a specialty running store where you can find all the selection of shoes that you're looking for. Brooks, On, and Hoka, you name it, they have it all at the Brazos Running Company. And they want to help you find the right shoe for your situation. If you're a big-time runner, they're going to analyze your gait, get you the right shoe for you. They have a huge selection. They got Viore clothing, they got Duck Camp, they got Turtle Box speakers, they got Stanley Cups. It is the Brazos Running Company, located at Century Square below the Star Cinema Grill in College Station. Check out the Brazos Running Company.
What's up, TexAgs? This commercial break is brought to you by my good friends over at Aggieland Chevrolet, the official automotive sponsor of TexAgs.com and me, Billy Lucci. Greg Gunn is the proud owner of Aggieland Chevrolet and invites you to visit the dealership to experience true Aggie hospitality. From their friendly staff to the experienced service team, Aggieland Chevrolet is TexAgs approved. Check out the dealership off of Highway 6 in Bryan or go to AggielandChevrolet.com and tell them Billy Lucci sent you by.
As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150 will hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggie Land since 1984 with your favorite pizza. And, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls are liable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. Stephen McGee's still here with us. Let's play a little buy, sell, lease. I got an idea, all right? Position groups that we feel need to take a big step up, that you feel comfortable that they will take a big step up, all right?
Interesting.
Buy, sell, lease. I'm going to give you 3. Wide receiver, DB, defensive line as a group.
Oh, man. Well, you want to go first or you want me to today?
You're the guest, so I'll do whatever you want. You want me to start this off, or do you want to?
Yeah, let's let you go today.
Okay, I will. I'm going to buy, and maybe it's a mistake, but I'm going to buy the receivers. Actually,
I thought you were. Yep.
KC Concepcion. I've seen him do it. Craver. Boy, he looked good against A&M. Now they don't have a big guy, but maybe that's overrated. I've seen some big guys that play receiver that can't play. Okay, so I think I'm going to buy the receivers. Not saying that they're going to be. It's not going to be Swope, Nwachuku, and Evans. Okay, it's not that, but I feel good about those guys. I will lease the defensive line.
Okay,
and I'm going to sell the secondary because I've got to see it. I saw a coach said we cannot play zone defense. Mm-hmm. Okay, and we don't know if he still can because, of course, we're only halfway through spring.
This is a hard one. This is a really hard one.
Yeah.
I think there's some bullish and bearish cases on all 3 groups. Okay. I will buy the defensive backs because I feel like out of all 3 levels, the most known commodity, a guy that can play at a very, very high level, Cassius Howell, the DN.
Oh, you said D-line. You actually said D-backs. Okay.
Did I say D-backs?
Yeah.
I meant to say, I want to say D-line. Sorry.
Cassius Howell.
I like Cassius Howell. I feel like out of all the groups, that guy can make a difference. Will Lee is my guy at corner, but the question around that group is who else is out there? Who's that defense back? Who's that nickel? I think there's a lot of big question marks. We got exposed consistently. We've been exposed at that position. I don't know why that's been something that we've struggled with is the back end of the defense. Wide receivers for me, I probably would probably still sell it. I mean, like that group for me, maybe I'm tormented from last year. I just felt like that was the biggest underperformance I've ever seen at that group. It just can't be that bad again. I just that if we play at that level, at that position, I don't care how great Marcel is, he's going to struggle. I mean, the guys just weren't getting open. And KC Concepcion, I think, as long as he buys into the team motto and is a leader and does all those types of things, I think he has a high ceiling, but some big questions.
I think with DB, they brought in some guys that I'm excited about. Jordan Shaw from Washington State, Humphreys from Georgia. Plus, I think Ricks will be a little bit better, and Willie's been great. We'll drop it there. Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate you, bud.
All right, buddy.
All right. Thank you, OB. When we come back, Michael Earley and Ryan Brauninger, it's TexAgs Live. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the program. Ryan Brauninger is with us to talk a little Aggie baseball, and it's our weekly conversation with Michael Earley, brought to you by Duck Camp. They know that the best moments happen out there on the boat, casting a line, or hauling in the catch of the day. Be sure to check out Duck Camp's new spring hats, like the fan favorite crawfish hat and the redfish hat at duckcamp.com. We go to the Bubby's Catering Hotline, and we are joined by Michael Earley. Coach, how are you, sir?
Doing good. How you guys doing?
Great. Let's just talk about the vibes right now. Heck of a week. It's been great since Friday, and 41-10 during this 3-game win streak. Just what do you think has been the catalyst for this offensive explosion recently?
Man, it's we're getting hits. I mean, we're getting hits because we're putting good controlled swings and having good approaches, and it's not just getting hits because you're getting them. Like, there's a lot that goes into it, and the guys they're doing what they're supposed to do. And I think there's a confidence and a looseness that's brewing, and everyone's kind of feeding off of it.
Hey, Coach, we're looking at, just before we got on the radio, we were looking at Bear Harrison's slash line since he's really been inserted as the everyday starter, and it's pretty wild that he's got an OPS over the last 20 games of like 1,600. Can you point to one specific thing that Bear is doing differently? Maybe it's mechanically, maybe it's with his rhythm and timing, that has allowed him to have more offensive success than we've seen?
Yeah, and you can attest to this. You saw him in fall and spring practice. He's just made a massive jump. He's lowered his hands a little bit. He's added the toe tap, and he's just been consistently on time. Like, he's found that timing trigger, that timing mechanism that's just allowed him to be able to see pitches better, but not only hit him. But man, has he just completely changed our lineup with that right-handed bat right in the middle. Like, he's done an awesome job.
Well, and I think too, you watch the lineup go, and we go back to the last 9 games. It's 104 runs. Like, that's confidence, but it's also, I like what you said about y'all's swing rate and y'all's swing decision rate. Early in the year, you guys had a lot of whiff rate on breaking balls in the zone. How much is that cleaned up, and what were y'all able to do to get that cleaned up?
It's just, it really is. When you're missing pitches, it's because you're not on time for the fastball, period. I mean, being on time for the fastball with the right approach allows you to hit breaking pitches in the zone. When you're in between both pitches, you're in trouble. So it's really just about being on time for the heater with the right approach, trying to do the right thing with it, not trying to pull off of it. Allows you to hit spin that stays up in the zone, and allows you to recognize spin earlier and leave it when it's in the dirt. So it's not a perfect science, but the best way to hit in baseball is stay on heater and be able to subtract. If you're ever in between pitches or you're on the slow stuff, you're going to be in trouble.
And how do you go about, I know that Cash will be out this weekend, so I'm guessing we'll see a lot of Bender up at first base, but just the at-bats between the first base spot and the left field spot, how do you look at them right now as productive? Is it just finding a way to get to first base?
Yeah. Right now at first base for me, it's, I just Bendy's getting the nod just because I feel like he's, a little stronger defensively. But I mean, Matt's right there, so you might see him too. And then left field, it's about playing defense and getting on base. And Sawyer's been struggling a little bit, but he had a really good day yesterday, so I'm excited to see him this weekend. But with Cash, it'll be a right up until game time decision whether he's available just to pinch hit on the weekend. So I'm hoping we can, if we need him, we can use him in a pinch hit situation.
And how pleased, this is one of the things that I don't think a lot of folks, it doesn't cross their mind whenever they're thinking about how to manage a baseball team and manage a season. But to me, one of the more important things is like how engaged amongst their teammates have guys like Yamal George been, and you mentioned Matt Bergevin and Jacob Galloway, these guys that have been in and out of the lineup. Galloway was the opening day starter. How is their role kind of evolved, and what have you seen from them body language, energy-wise in the dugout as far as being teammates?
They've been great. I mean, I can't say enough about how just awesome they've been. They understand. I mean, I think they're pretty rational, and they can see what's happened. Some guys are just playing, and sometimes it's not what you're doing. Sometimes it's other people are doing it better. And, they're all right there, and they all have a role in this team. I think Matt, for instance, like, he's always engaged, always into the game. And I could be wrong, but I believe his last 4 pinch hits have been 3 walks and a hit by pitch. And then, Yamal got in the game against Tennessee, and it was a sack bunt that turned into a hit, but it's because he did everything right. And that was a massive, massive play in the game. And Jacob is still continues to work hard and has just been an ultimate professional. So these guys are, it's tough not to play. It is tough not to play, but they're handling it the right way, and I know they're ready to go at any moment.
Over the last, I would go back to that doubleheader on Saturday against Tennessee, and then on Tuesday, you've been kind of pressing more buttons offensively, and I'm keenly aware that you can only do what the game allows you to do. And Marcus Phillips had a big leg time. You guys took advantage of that. But on Tuesday night, you get in a 1st and 3rd scenario, bottom of the order, 2 outs, and you'd already scored 5 runs against Sam, and you go early break steal, you went delay, steal, stop, and Royo gets in the rundown now, and Benrup gets out. But how much of that stuff are you looking to work in, especially in those midweeks? Because I know you practice it all the time, but there's very little opportunity to work it in, especially with the season gone how it has.
Yeah, no, I mean, if it, like you said, if the game allows it, and then, especially if you got a lead, you can get some guys on base. Like we have it all in place, and I think you can see whenever it's available, we've executed it, pretty well, except for the other day. Actually, I mean, Sam Houston did just a really good job. A really good job on that play, because usually people, they want to wait till 2 strikes and then everyone's kind of where it's going on. So I thought I'd try it early, but yeah, I mean, as long as we can use it and it's a weapon and it's not over coaching, we're gonna try it. We're gonna bunt. We're gonna hit and run. We're gonna delay. But it's a lot easier to do when you got a lead and you're able to put some pressure on them.
And I want to talk about Caden Kent's at bats through your lens. There's obviously started off the year red hot and a lot of power slug numbers, and those have come down. And, it seems like some of the swing decisions came and went, but to me, they're getting a little bit better. He's a fun guy to coach because of how hard he works, but he's also a tough guy to coach because of how hard he takes it on himself. So how do you manage Kent to kind of get him honed back in and swinging at pitches in the zone?
Just constantly stay on him, and it's something he can handle. And he's so competitive at times. He goes up there and he hunts hits. When you hunt hits, you swing at everything. He's just got to get back to him. When he's really good, he's getting pitches he can drive to middle to the pull side early in the count, and then as you saw him growing up, he has that ability to hit balls the other way when he's down in the count. It's just getting him not to be front sided and trying to push balls early in the count. Like he has power. So we want him to try to leverage balls early in the count, and when you get in those positions, you swing at better pitches. And then he's as good as anyone at fighting when he gets 2 strikes. It's just right now it feels like he's fighting with no strikes. Yeah. I mean, as of late, it's been a lot better. So I really like where he's at. He's in a good headspace. And Kent, you're right. He's extremely, extremely fun to coach because the level of care and competitiveness is off the charts.
And then let's talk about Ben Royo. This is a kid that 2 years ago hit 13 homers at Rice. Obviously, you can watch him take an in and out or pregame defense and go, that kid can really, really play defense. But is there anything that he's done since he's been inserted in the starting role that has surprised you? And can you see him kind of figuring out, hey, I can do this at a high level and I can succeed in this league?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the surprise would just be, I mean, he's having a lot of success, and maybe it's not a surprise, but it's just something he hasn't done in the past. Part of it that's not surprising, as you can see, if you're a professional baseball scout or anyone with a baseball eye, and you walk into our practice and you don't know who anyone is, you would point out Ben Royo as a prospect. He can run. His actions in the field are really, really good. He can hit for power. I think the thing that Ben was missing, that I'm hoping he's fully gained, and it's what we've tried to inject in him, is just confidence. He came in as a player to me that lacked a little confidence. He had a really tough year last year, following one, he had a good year his freshman year. So the confidence factor in baseball is so understated. I think it's said, and it's like, yeah, you got to be confident. Like you not only do you have to be confident, it is necessary. And I think what Ben has done, he's gained some confidence. He's playing with a looseness, and every time I see him starting to, and I don't mean this like just to care way too much, I let him know. I'm like, dude, that's that's not who you are. Like, play with that looseness, play with that energy, and just have fun out there. And when he does that, man, he's a real player. Like, this isn't some guy that wasn't playing who's a tryhard. Like, he's got real skills, and I think it's showing.
Talking to Michael Earley here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Your pitching staff ranks second in the nation in walks allowed in 9 innings. How crucial has that been to keeping you guys in these games?
Yeah, I mean, you want to always limit free passes, and these guys have been really, really good. And I think I was really excited about the bullpen on Tuesday, just them coming out and filling it up. So, yeah, strikes play. I mean, if guys give up hits and they score because we give up hits, there's nothing you can do about that. So we just got to continue to pound the zone. And, you know, it looks like offensively we're giving them some support. So, you know, to see it all come together as of late, and we just got to continue doing it.
And, Coach, I want to talk about Tuesday night, the one defensive miscue you had to pop up in the infield. It's just off the mound. Where I was standing, I could hear Bender up calling off Caden McCoy. Caden McCoy camps under it, and he misses it. From a coaching perspective, how do you and JK want that ball fielded? Are you okay with the pitcher catching it, or are you trying to get Bender up to get him out of there earlier? How did it look from y'all's scope?
I mean, it was 100% the pitcher's ball. I think Bendy called it because he thought the pitcher shouldn't catch it, which he knows the pitcher should. So, you know, Caden was sitting there after he heard it because he looked away and looked back, and the whole time he's waiting to catch it, he's waiting to get run over. I'm pretty sure what happened, like a receiver going over the middle. So it was, I mean, it would have hit him right in the face, and I think it was just a unique play. But, yeah, that's 100% the pitcher's ball. He should have called. He should have waved his arms early and just fought the baseball. And that would have you know, kind of shut it down right there. But like he heard Bender up. Bendy should not have called it. And the whole time he's waiting to catch it, he's waiting to get run over.
And then how much work has Ryan Brauninger done in kind of like the video and analytics with Jace Hutchins or Jack Mahala and JK, just to figure out, you know, is there anything mechanical going on? He's going through these a little bit of these pitching doldrums, or is it wear and tear? Like, how are you guys trying to figure out the missing link for Brauninger?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what Prager's done, it's real similar to what he's done in the past. Like, he's throwing strikes at a high rate and throwing pitches for strikes. It's just he's kind of the guys have just kind of got to him a little bit. So I think it's more of us figuring out what the approach is against him. And what once the teams have success, you can watch video, you can do certain things, you can talk to other coaches and kind of see the approach they've had. So we feel like we got a decent idea of what they're trying to do, and it's just, you know, trying to limit what they're trying to do by changing what we're doing a little bit. So he's been good. I mean, he's just giving up. He's not walking guys. He's just giving up some hits, which will happen. But, I mean, there's never a day in my life I won't be confident when Ryan Brauninger's on the mound. So I think you'll see a really good outing out of him tonight.
Yeah, I heard you talk yesterday about Paul Mainieri and how much you kind of revere him. Don't know him that well, but just what he did at LSU. Now he's back in the league at South Carolina. Just your overview on the Gamecocks, and how excited are you to see a guy that you recruited and signed, and a guy that I think, you know, Max Coffer left a pretty good impression, or great impression, in fact, on a lot of people in College Station. He was such a good kid. But how excited are you to see Max? And then tell us a little bit about the Gamecocks.
Yeah, I mean, I love Max to death, man. I remember the last time I talked to him before he committed there, it was just, all positive. He left here on such a high note. And a kid that's spent the last 2 Easters at my house. He's been out of town. So I'll make sure I talk to him after Game 3. Give him a hug. So yeah, I'm real excited. And I think a lot of guys are excited to see him too. He's a really exceptional kid. And yeah, I mean, speaking on Paul Mainieri, obviously a legendary coach, and has done some amazing things in college baseball, and got a chance to meet him a couple times, and just was really, really nice. Text me when I got the job. So nothing but respect for him and his program and the things he's done, and nothing but respect for their team. So they're going to throw out a couple of left-handers to start off, and they got Petrie in the lineup, who's one of the better hitters in the country, and they're like any other SEC team. I don't care how they're playing. If you play bad at any moment, you can get beat. So they can do a lot of different things, and they got some guys that I think are struggling a little, but can really run the ball at the ballpark when they want to. So it's going to be about us playing our game and playing clean baseball, throwing strikes, taking balls, swinging at strikes, taking advantage of situations, taking extra bases, and just playing how we've been playing. And when we do that, you know, I really like us in a lot of matchups.
Coach Earley, we appreciate it, sir. Good luck. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Michael Earley, there on the Bucky's Catering Hotline. Ronnie, you want to stick around and talk some baseball, or you got to go?
I could do a short segment.
Okay.
Will that work?
Or do you just want to go a little bit long here?
Let's do that then.
Okay, let's go long.
I've got to bring. So this is the one weekend where I won't be at a Bluebell Park series.
Yep.
I agreed to go on a work retreat with my wife. We're going to Las Vegas.
My gosh! I'm sorry.
I've never been.
You've never been to Vegas?
No, but we've got to drop the dog off with my mother-in-law in Houston. So before we go to the airport, so I'm a little time constrained. We can go long here, and then
we'll just go a couple questions and
yeah.
What does a little bit of success, because it's still a little bit, right, do for just like breathing, feeling comfortable at the plate? Like, it doesn't mean anything. They still got such a long road, but just for in the moment, the success they've had over the last week, what can it do heading into another series?
Well, it can't be overstated right now. Like, if I'm looking at just today, that confidence can't be overstated. But if you've been around this game long enough, you know that it's really only as good as your next day starting pitcher, right? And that confidence can be taken from you pretty quick. And so to me, as a baseball player, when you're playing well, you need to be as humble as you possibly can, because you know just at a snap of a fingers, it could be gone. And with the way A&M's played this year, we definitely know that, you know, we just saw it on Friday night. They played well offensively going into that game against Liam Doyle, and they get shut out, no hit, and run ruled. And it can flip on you just that quick. But for them to have scored 104 runs over their last 9 games, I think that's a clear sign that the offense, this is the best stretch that we've seen it by miles.
Yeah.
By miles. And they're still not fully healthy. Like, they've done that with either no Caden Sorrell, very limited Caden Sorrell, or no Gavin Cash in the lineup. And you're obviously at a turnstile in left field, and I admire Sawyer Farr for going out there, and it's a position he's never played. And on balls in the air, he's been fine. But you got to get something offensively out of first base and left field. You just have to. And I'm not saying they got to get hits. And I'm not saying that Bender Up or Farr or Yamal or Shoddy, that they've got to go out there and get, 5 hits this weekend. That's not what I'm talking about. Offensive success in those spots, because when they're going that way, is just getting to first base.
Yep.
Like walks, hit by pitch, productive outs. With 2 strikes, can you foul off 3 or 4 pitches to run pitch count up? Like, that is what we're looking at in terms of success in those spots. But overall, the offense is in a way better place. And I think we talked about it a lot. People got tired of hearing it, but I think we're seeing what it could have been like had Caden Sorrell been in the lineup from the jump.
Yeah.
And that's even taking Gavin Grahovic out. But he's an incredible player, and his bat-to-ball skills are off the charts. And look, this kid, you talked to Kendall Rogers yesterday, and the scouts are taking notice. Like, this kid is going to come back here next year as a draft eligible junior, and he and Gavin Grahovic are probably both going to get first-round grades.
I asked Kendall this, and I'll ask you kind of the same question. He seemed to be a little apprehensive of believing that they've turned the corner, and I get it. I mean,
you should be.
Yeah, right. But I also am curious if we would feel differently if the schedule were different, right? So, like, the fact that you still have Murderers Row, you're in the middle of Murderers Row. You have South Carolina now, which you got to win this series, and then you got Arkansas, Texas, and LSU. If it were not all stacked up against each other, would you be more optimistic? Because I think it was a hard route regardless if you're the number 1 team in the country or not.
Yeah, but that would mean that you had, an Arkansas early, and then you'd have an Alabama late. And Alabama, we know, a really good ball club.
Yep.
And, like, there's not a lot separating the elite of this league. There really isn't. And so, like, when A&M, when you eliminate some of their elite talent off their roster, then they fall down that pecking order. Like, the margins are already fine that when you lose talent of Grahovic and Sorrell and now Cash, like, you fall down that pecking order. Now, again, it's not an excuse. There's other reasons as well that A&M has not played up to the standard that we anticipated it. But all last weekend did is extend your hope. Like, there's still hope in this season. And I'd be willing to bet that a lot of folks are going to show up at Bluebell Park tonight, because Coach Earley said when they got back to College Station on, I guess it was like 3 o'clock Sunday morning, There was like 40 or 50 people waiting on him in the parking lot. This fan base really cares about baseball.
Yep.
They really do, and they're passionate about it. And you can recruit to it, this even in the face of this season and the record, it still really matters to a lot of people here. And that, I think, is important in terms of how you're looking at the program today, how you're looking at it in 2 or 3 years, in 10 years. Like you have to capitalize on this. It's in a whole nother stratosphere. It's always been the second most popular sport on campus. And I love what Bucky McMillan has said and done, and I'm all in with that guy in coaching the basketball program here. And I hope he cuts into that lead that baseball has over basketball. But right now, even in the face of a 17-15 record or whatever it is, baseball is still gaining a ton of traction and a ton of eyeballs. So I think the fan base is fired up. Everybody's pulling for this club, man.
Yeah.
And I know it gets vitriolic online, if that's even a word. It gets toxic online. But most of those people that are being, the toxicity is coming from anonymous accounts. I lend zero credence to anything like that. And to be quite honest, I lend less credence to it as well to the people on our message board that post on their usernames. Like, I think we've seen an uproar in toxicity because people care so much. But I also think that there is a silent majority out there that really care about these kids. They understand how much the university and this baseball program means to guys like Jace Lavalette and Hayden Schott, and they understand how much it matters to Mike Earley that this place is successful and how much Mike Earley and his family care about this community. They're good people. Those are good kids over there that really care. They just haven't done the baseball stuff correctly. So, like, jump on their back, ride it out with them. You don't know if the season can turn around, but it sure as heck ain't going to turn around if the toxicity and negativity override everything. There's hope still. Got to maintain that hope this weekend.
Thank you, Bronny. Enjoy Vegas, buddy. Right now, we're talking about if your car was hit by the recent hailstorm, don't trust an out-of-town pop-up tent with your car. You got to trust somebody who's local, who's going to be there, who stands the test of time. And I'm talking about Classic Collision and Restoration, who specialize in paintless dent repair for hail damage. So those out-of-town pop-up tents, they're gone. I mean, I think they're probably already gone. They were calling my phone every day like, hey, look, you're not in town. You're not going to be able to stand by your work. You're not going to be able to take care of me. But I do know that Classic Collision and Restoration can. They've done it for over 25 years, and they want to bring back your car to showroom form. They've got awesome quality there, and no one in the Brazos Valley offers that same quality. Don't get your car fixed. Get it restored at Classic Collision. Aggie owned and operated by Doug Leopold, class of 1993. You can call them up, 979-779-8399, or online at classiccollisionandrestoration.com. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Your car wash tradition with the friendliest staff and personal touches back. That's Aggieland Express Car Wash. They're Aggieland's first green car wash where they recycle 100% of their water. 2 great locations in College Station. You got the original William D. Fitch and the newest location, 2528 Texas Avenue South. That newest location does offer the full-service wash. They have 3 different levels of full-service washes, and we're going to give one away at 979-693-1150. That first caller will get themselves a $40 value and a free full-detail car wash or full-service car wash from Aggieland Express Car Wash. $40 value. That first caller, 979-693-1150. We go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Caitlin Torn. Torn, tell me something good.
We got an interesting question from Dave Branham, and he says, if I gave you $100...
I think this was for McGee, right?
Yeah, this was earlier.
I'll answer for McGee.
He said, if I gave you $100 and sent you to Vegas and you had to put it on some A&M athletics wager, what would you put it on?
Softball getting to Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe and doing something special. If I had to.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, women's tennis, can they go back to back? Absolutely. They have pretty much the same We're going to have Coach Weaver on the show at 10 o'clock, by the way. Can they go back to back? Yeah, that would be that's definitely one. Let me try to think what else. Right now, I have so many questions of the big 3. Right, I have a hard time putting a wager.
Like one of those.
I'm not putting a wager on A&M going 9-3 and better. I'm just not yet. Doesn't mean I won't change my mind. I'm just not there right now. Basketball, there's no freaking roster, right? And I know Bucky's working hard at that. And then baseball-wise, I believe that they're a better team now than they were, not just because of the Tennessee series, but I think they're a better team than they were early on. I just don't know. If they can get to the postseason, I think they can make some noise. But they got a long road before that. So it would be some of the other sports that I would put a wager on.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, the Texas A&M track and field team is returning to E.B. Cushing Stadium to host the first of 3 outdoor meets, starting with the 44 Farms Team Invitational, the 11th and 12th. And the Maroon and White put on a dominant performance at the Florida Relays last weekend as they set a new school record, captured 3 national leading marks, won 6 events, and made 7 alterations to the A&M all-time performers list.
Yeah, we had the guys in studio yesterday, the 4x400. Look, number 1 and number 3 team in the country, right?
Yeah.
Like they're. That's another one. You know what? Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I always bet on Pat Henry.
Yeah.
All right, let's hit a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk to Aaron Torres from Aaron Torres Online. He was in San Antonio for 6 days. Gosh, he must have a great budget there. We'll talk about that. All right, we're talking about documentary films and heritage films. You guys know my dad's story. Fled Cuba in the 60s and met my mom here in the United States. And, you know, they just an awesome story that I think had to be told for our family to kind of really know the real essence, the real words. And we did that with a heritage film that Chance McClain did for us. He doesn't just record interviews. He crafts cinematic documentaries that capture the soul of any family business, and any family ranch. You name it. Chance and the crew there, including his daughter Gunn, they travel the country and they create these awesome time capsules. It's just such a cool thing that they do. They spend significant time getting every detail right, ensuring that your family story is told with respect and creativity that it does deserve. No pressure, just incredible storytelling. Check out yourheritagefilm.com. Yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341. 713-893-8341. Your family story is waiting to be told. It's Heritage Films. And we're back. No reason for the clap. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Time for Around College Football and college athletics, I should say, brought to you by Milliken Reserve, a College Station community featuring homes, trails, farms, and wide open spaces. They have a mission to build a healthy community around nature. Take part in the Milliken Reserve community with a Conservancy membership. Learn more at millikenreserve.com. We go to the Buppies Catering Hotline. We're joined by Aaron Torres of Aaron Torres Online and Fox Sports Radio. AT, San Antonio for 6 days. You got that kind of budget, bro?
Not really.
Oh.
But you know how it goes. When when an advertiser wants you somewhere, you go where the advertiser wants. When the advertiser wants David Nuño, in the middle of the woods shooting elk, you go shoot some elk, So it's the same thing.
I'm an elk shooter.
It wasn't shooting elk.
No, it's all right though. Hey, so I think I know the answer to this because we've talked about it in the past, but I'm gonna answer it after I ask it. Then you tell me if I'm right. Are you sad the college basketball season is over? And my answer is yes, of course, but it never ends because college athletics is now a year-round job.
So I'm sad the games are over for sure. It's definitely been surreal coming home. Like even last night, my wife had something to do later at night, and it's like, do I want to sit down and watch Luka going back to Dallas? I was like, not really. And so it's like, what do I do with my time? I think we all that work in sports, whatever we cover, there's always that moment in time where you're like, what am I going to do with my time? It's actually really sad to me, David.
Okay.
And I've heard your new basketball coach talk about this is the portal's moving way too fast right now. I know it's all because of this house settlement, April 7th, blah, blah, blah. Can we slow down? I mean, last year, Calipari didn't even leave for Arkansas till the 7th. And it was like, that's when the games, proverbial games literally began, where it was like, all of a sudden, April was one of the busiest months I've ever personally had. Now it's like everybody's kind of just signed, committed, whatever. And it's like, okay, everybody's off for the summer. It's like, whoa. It's like, I'm like Will Smith in the meme. I showed up to the portal house and it's already empty. Everybody's already committed everywhere. So that's what's kind of making me sad was, usually, because like you said, it's become kind of year-round commentary. I could count on the portal to at least get me to April before things kind of slow down. But, and I know in no sarcasm, I did listen to your interview with Coach McMillan yesterday. And he talked about it as it's moving way faster than it ever has. I don't know if it's going to continue to stay this way, but I was expecting April to be busy, and it feels like it's already starting to slow down quite a bit.
Hey, AT, let's talk about Bucky. Look, I don't know how much you knew about him. You watch a lot of college basketball. You might have known a lot. I don't know. But it's interesting how I feel like people have started to change their opinion. And I think not just here locally at Aggie Land, but there was this Chris Beard thought, and then people are like, oh, you go after a guy like, come on, he hasn't even coached at this level. And you hear him talk, you hear his resume, you see what he does. He's made Feinbaum a believer. He's made Aggieland a believer. What do you think so far?
Yeah, it was really funny, actually. I was speaking on a panel last Friday, and it was a day-long event, and like 3 panels after me, Bucky McMillan was supposed to speak, and it was a no-show, and we figured out pretty quickly where things were going. So, David, I just go back to what I said to you last week when Buzz left, or maybe it was the week before, I can't remember, is I said basically when these jobs open now, I don't need the quote-unquote biggest name that's done this and da-da-da-da. What I need is the guy that fully understands this is where we are in college sports. This is where it's going, and this is what I need to accept as the reality. I'll give you an Aggieland example. One of the reasons I didn't love one of the many reasons I didn't love the idea of Texas A&M pursuing Mark Stoops in football was I was like, this guy's run from the same playbook. It's not working at Kentucky, and he's going to try to use the same playbook at Texas A&M, and it's not going to work there either. And thankfully, you guys got out of that one, whatever. And so when Buzz Williams left, it's like, okay, if you can get Chris Beard, yeah, you got to get Chris Beard. But it's like, don't go get the 60-year-old dude, from wherever just to say that you got a name brand. Get the guy that's young, that gets it, that has a plan for rev share, that has a plan for the portal. Again, I know I said this to you last week, David. Who was Todd Golden? And it was before he won a national championship, but it was like, who was Todd Golden when he got hired at Florida? But what we've since found out is, He has a plan for the portal. He has a plan for rev share. He's very definitive in his beliefs in how you build a team in this era. And I thought A&M had to find that guy, and it could have been Bucky McMillan. It could have been somebody else. But, Bucky's whatever he is, 44, 45. And it's like, he might only get one crack at this apple. He doesn't have 25, 30 million in the bank. He might only get one shot to do it right at the highest level. And he is going to give everything that he has to Aggie land. And so I'm excited for the era. It seems like fans are. I know fans are excited to, at the very least, watch a better brand of basketball. But that's why I like the hire, because like I told you 2 weeks ago or a week ago, whenever we last spoke, is that you needed a guy that gets this era of college sports. And I think Bucky McMillan would, at the very minimum, fit that category.
Yeah, the only thing I worry about, Aaron, and I worry about a lot, as you know, I'm a warrior, is building a roster this late into what feels like a very late thing that you just talked about, and setting you up down maybe a rough patch that first season and what that does for the years after. I know you can build a roster quickly now in today's world, but I would love for him to have some cachet going into the first year, and until they sign some guys, it's still a TBD.
Yeah, I think the good thing is portal. The portal for forget players declaring or committing. The portal is still open for another 10 days or so for players to enter, and I'm still of the belief we're going to get a wave of pretty good players. And so, to me, yes, would it have been ideal? If Buzz Williams didn't, let's be honest, screw you and wait till April 1st to make his move. Of course, it would have been ideal if Buzz decided he wanted to leave, that it happens a week or two before it does. But, I don't know that I'm so much of a believer in that. I think so much now money talks in NIL and the portal. And I know that one thing that the Aggies, athletic department doesn't lack is the ability to raise funds. And so, I'm not as worried. And I'm also not as worried, like a bad year one just doesn't mean anything, and sometimes a bad year one, all that means is that you get a jump start on year two. I mean, Chris Beard last year at Ole Miss, they turned down an NIT invite because they were like, dude, we got to get going on our 2024-2025 season. And as you can see, it worked out pretty well. I think it was the first Sweet 16 since 2016. So I'm not as worried about the ability to get players this cycle. But like I said, even in a worst case scenario, I think that sometimes that could turn into a negative going forward. And the other thing I would say too, really quick, is that the SEC as a whole will be interesting because so many teams are losing so much. Where I think as good as the league was this year, I don't think it's going to be quite as top heavy next year, where you're going to be facing 14 NCAA tournament teams, and if you don't have a squad ready to go, you're going to be in deep trouble.
How'd your talk with Greg Sankey go?
I was pretty good. It was after the championship game. He's just kind of sitting there hanging out on the court. Nobody's talking to him. We're like, this guy just needs a buddy to chat with. But no, we mostly focused on the basketball stuff, the rise of the SEC. Very friendly guy. Obviously, as you can imagine, the first one-on-one experience I've gotten with him outside of a group setting. And yeah, I joked. I dropped a couple jokes with him. And he was. One thing I'll say this: very friendly guy. Obviously a very, serious job and a lot of people to please, but, very easygoing, very easy to talk to. Maybe it's because I'm easy to talk to, David. I don't know. Maybe I just brought the best out of him, but I enjoyed speaking with him for just a few minutes after the title game on Monday night.
Yep. So where does your content move from here, AT? I know you're not a big spring football guy.
I know. Can we get some starters to play? I'll say this, and I know it was a topic about 2-3 weeks ago with Dion and Fran Brown. Who I talk about with this regularly is your buddy Ryan Fowler, one of your besties in the media. We need to do something with the spring. I mean, college football is too great of a product, but because especially now there's no National Signing Day in February. Nobody cares about that, and so it feels like the title game ends, and there's just this swath of time where we're not talking about any. I know locally you guys talk about it and you guys do an unbelievable job, covering spring ball and stuff, but it just feels like the sport itself could do something to benefit in the spring. And I'll tell you this, if there was a Colorado-Syracuse, inter-squad spring game on ESPN this Saturday, I would be the first person in line to watch it. So, we'll see what happens the next few weeks with the college hoops portal. Obviously, I'll monitor as much as I can in the spring. And then, it just starts getting time to start looking ahead to football. So I am excited to start looking ahead to football. But like I said, I think college football could use something around this time of year to get interest back up. The NFL does such a good job of keeping interest with free agency and the draft in the offseason. College football needs its version of that.
AT, I know you're not a big NBA guy. You brought up the Luka thing earlier, but I do want to ask you about what Jason Kidd said. I don't know if you saw it, but afterwards, Jason Kidd said on the Luka trade, he goes, trades happen. Some are comparing it to Babe Ruth, which is kind of cool. I don't know if he knows, but the Boston Red Sox had a curse after that, and they went 86 years without a World Series. I mean, maybe that's cool for Yankee fans, but we have a lot of Mavs fans, not a lot of NBA fans, but I think, Dallas fans for sure. Just, does he not read the moment, recognize, just move on from that commentary?
Well, and I may have told you that, I was on air when the trade happened. And, it's about midnight Eastern, that's when my show is on. And we were trying to make sense of it in real time. And I think the thing that stands out to me, David, and, seeing some of the, Fire Nico stuff last night, I still haven't gotten the definitive explanation as to why it happened. And so I'm sorry, but, listen, for a league that's struggling for relevancy right now, I'm sorry. It still, to this moment, looks a little bit suspicious. Oh, a player in his prime, a superstar, one of the 5 best players in the league in his prime, just so happens to land on the Lakers without any sort of bidding process, and no one can really explain it. I'm sorry. I'll say this. I don't know how much you follow social media burner accounts, but there's the Shirley Donovan guy in college basketball that kind of has the scoop on what really happens, and he's not afraid to share it. The NBA needs some version of that, because I still don't buy the whole, they just weren't willing to commit the Supermax. It's like, okay, so you're going to pay this guy, fill in the blank guy $28 million, but you can't pay Luka $60 million. It just, nothing about it adds up. And I think, credit to Mavs fans for showing up. And I saw the stats that they're going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars. They're projected to lose hundreds of millions of dollars over the next few years. Nothing about it makes sense. There's some broader conspiracy. I have a couple of mine, but I know we got to go. But it's still to this day just a weird deal as far as I'm concerned.
Before I let you go, you're going to be tuned into the Masters at all?
Dude, it's like when you break up with a girl, you try to go back on that first date, a few weeks later. I'm just not ready to get invested in sports again. I mean, certainly we'll see what storylines prevail. I'm obviously on Saturdays on a national show, so, I got to at least monitor the leaderboard. But am I going to be making, pimento cheese sandwiches in my house and wearing all green? Don't think that's really in the cards for Torres for this weekend. As you can hear, probably need to get my voice back. Probably need to spend a little QT with the family. But, next few days as I'm kind of working around the house, I'll probably have it on in the background. But, no, I will be on, Masters.com following Rory from 13 to 14. That's probably not in my wheelhouse for this weekend. I'm not going to lie.
AT, great stuff, brother. Thanks so much for your time.
No problem, buddy. Good interview with Coach, by the way. I learned a lot about him. So thank you for doing that, you and Billy. That was great stuff.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, David. Bye. That's Aaron Torres on the Buppy's Catering Hotline. If you're looking for a reason to move back to Aggieland, have you considered the Association of Former Students? They typically have a lot of positions open. I know fundraising, communication, sales, marketing, all different areas that they sometimes have openings. And you should check it out. They have positions open from time to time, and you should really look at it as the place to go work. It's a great community of people, the premier alumni association in the world, the oldest organization supporting A&M in support of that Aggie network. They play a part in every Aggie story from howdy to here. Don't miss opportunities to help out with Aggie socials, Aggie rain day, class reunions, Aggie muster, and everything in between. Join a team that exemplifies those Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. So if you're interested in joining the team or sharing with someone who would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/association jobs to apply and get more information on each position It is the Association of Former Students. How great is that to watch me drink water as I start the segment? TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Yes, Nick?
Not my fault. Sorry.
No, it's not your fault. I actually figured you were about to take me live, but I had already made up my mind. I'm going in for the water. It's okay. You know, I've got to be better. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Caitlin Torn is there. A lot of news not involving A&M.
Not involving A&M, but SEC schools with players in the Masters. If you had to guess, who do you think has the most? They have 8.
Is it Texas?
It's not Texas.
Is it Bama?
No, it's not Bama.
Georgia. Okay.
Georgia has 8. Texas and Bama both have 3. And then Arkansas, LSU, and Auburn all have 1.
Okay.
So pretty good SEC presence.
Yep.
In the Masters. And then we have 10 SEC baseball teams ranked in the latest D1 Baseball Top 25. Also,
tell me the names and where they rank.
Arkansas at 1.
Okay, we're playing them soon.
Texas at 2.
Yep, we're playing them soon.
Both on the road.
3 is LSU.
Yeah, we're playing them
here.
5, Tennessee.
We beat them.
Yeah, we beat them.
6, Ole Miss.
Nope, don't play them.
7, Georgia.
Already played them.
Auburn at 11.
Don't remember.
Don't remember, yeah. We didn't play them.
Alabama at 12.
Played them, lost.
Vanderbilt at 17.
Played them, lost.
And Oklahoma at 19.
Don't play them.
There you go. I think we learned it a little bit, Nick, did we not?
Yeah, it's rough out there, but a big opportunity this weekend for sure.
No doubt. Hey, if they got to get, what did Kendall say? 13 wins to get into the tournament, right? To get into the postseason?
Very doable.
They got how many right now? 3?
Correct.
In the SEC?
Yep.
If you sweep this weekend, you're only 7 away.
It's going to be a really tough 7 to get, though. You got to capitalize, man.
But you're only 7 away.
Well, and you play Missouri, so if you want to give them the sweep at home.
Only 7 away and only 3.5 minutes.
So you got to get 4 from 1, 2, and 3.
Yes, I hear you, Brian, broadcasting. 3.5 minutes from Mark Weaver, TexAgs Live. Do you like it, or does it annoy you when OB and myself, we go, the Dream Weaver? do you like the nickname or not so much?
I love the nickname.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
You allow us to dream positive thoughts and not have nightmares. Mark Weaver's here in studio, Aggie women's tennis, positioned for another SEC title showdown. Of course, they're the reigning national champs, and it all feels like it's always going to be A&M versus Georgia at some point, but still some business to do. How are things going?
Everything's good. Yeah, doing well, and it's been a busy spring. It's gone by very fast. We've been on the road about 4 out of the last 5 weeks, and hardly been home in Aggie land. We haven't played in front of the 12th man in quite a while, and looking forward to playing at home both Friday and Sunday this weekend.
How different has it been? Maybe it hasn't been different with targets on your back? Like when you guys were the hunters last year, and I think you probably still are hunters, but maybe the way others treat you, the way they get up for playing A&M.
Yeah, I think it's been a little different this year. Having won the national title last year, we definitely have a bit more of a target on our back, and I think we've kind of felt perhaps a little bit more pressure this season than years past. And I kind of go back a few weeks back. We had a tough loss on the road against Vanderbilt. A lot of things kind of didn't go our way in the preparation for the match, and I think in a weird way, losing that match maybe took a little pressure off ourselves. And life goes on after you take a loss, and I think it kind of just reset us and kind of just helped us kind of breathe a little bit and get back to just focus on good tennis and not worrying so much about the winning and the losing so much, and just focusing more on just doing the right things to help us play the best tennis that we can play. So I feel like that match kind of stirred us up a little bit in a good way.
Tell me if I'm remembering correctly, but in a way that happened last year too, right? I mean, I think of the Georgia loss, which was, there was a lot of other stuff happening there. But I feel like those kind of moments, not that losses are ever good, but they're like, all right, we're reset, let's go.
Yeah, 100%. We lost a tough one at the SEC tournament in the finals to Georgia. We actually had a couple tough losses to Georgia last season, and we had them on the road in the deciding match. We were up 5-1 at the third set and lost that one, and that kind of reset us in a way. And then we lost a pretty tough match in a strong home environment indoors there. They had a raucous crowd and kind of really took us out of our games there. And in a way, that was like, it was such an awful feeling. But, like kind of said earlier, we came back and realized, life goes on and everything's just fine. And you put your head down and you get back to work. And when you go through those really, really tough times, I think it kind of really, kind of sets you in on what really matters.
Remind the audience, you got a lot of your team back, right? Like, and if you haven't gone to watch, you better be watching, because this team is poised to do some great things again. Just kind of remind the audience about who is still with us.
Yeah, we still have most of everyone back. Carson Branstein graduated and turned pro, but we've got the best player in college tennis, as far as I'm concerned, still on our tennis team, Mary Stoyana. Nicole Kieran is also one of the best players in college tennis. She's back, a junior. She's been, through a lot of matches. She clinched a lot of our matches at the NCAA tournament last year, so she knows what it feels like to be on the biggest stage. And I think basically the majority of our lineup kind of knows what it feels like to get across the finish line in those big moments. Mia Kupris, junior, who's had an excellent singles and doubles career since she's been here. Luciana Perez was a freshman last year, and she played some big matches for us. She's on a big win streak. I think she finished last season with 15 matches in a row. I think she's on about a 13-match win streak right now. And and we've got Daria Smetanokoff, who's played a lot of matches for us in the big moments over the years. And then we've got the lone freshman, Lexington Reed, from Florida, who's done a great job this season. She's generally the first one off the court for us, and normally it's in a good way. So, we've got most everyone back, other than just one new face.
Well, and you spoke about Mary. We all know how amazing she is playing, but just talk to us about the things we don't see that separate her from some of the other greats.
Yeah, when you see Mary on the tennis court, she's just the ultimate athlete, just very agile and moves very well and kind of plays a different game than everyone. She comes in the net a lot more than most. She kind of slices and dices. And, behind the scenes, it's just, I've never seen someone who just wants to grasp everything there is to being the best tennis player she can be. And she's just always trying to find ways to get better. She watches tennis on TV all the time, wants to meet with the coaching staff quite often to, maybe it's to tweak the forehand or tweak the backhand. And nobody's doing more than working on her mental game and even just the health and nutrition, just those types of things. It's a lot more than just showing up for the 20 hours that we're allowed to work with the girls, or with all the NCAA rules, she's doing a lot of things on her own. Just seems like all the time, every day, and that just really, her consistency over 4 years is remarkable, and it's so much just kind of self-accountability I feel like she's taken upon herself.
I remember as a kid watching Jerry Rice talk about, this is when he was the best player in football, saying that he always thought, he went into each season thinking somebody was coming for his job. And I feel like some of the greats, most of the greats, have that, like, they will find every little thing. And it sounds like Mary, like if it's the nutrition, if it's whatever it may be, she's always looking for that separator, that edge.
Yeah, she's looking for every little thing she can do to be the best tennis player. She's not only motivated to do great things for Texas A&M, she's also motivated for that kind of next stage of her career. She's just, unfortunately, her time here in Aggie Land's coming to an end, and she's going to have a very successful pro career just because of all those types of things she's doing, and I know that she'll continue to do.
How does Nicole compliment her at the top of the lineup, just knowing that she's 27-5 record this year, she's been so solid?
Yeah, they're just such complete opposite players. Nicole is just one of the biggest ball strikers I've ever seen. She can truly hit a winner at any time, at any position on the court. Just very, very talented. Just literally just knocks the cover off the ball, and she can just basically win a point in one stroke. Whereas Mary kind of constructs the point a bit more. You just have these opposite contrasts of, Nicole, when she's on, easily could be playing in Wimbledon. Just a great ball striker from both the forehand and the backhand side.
Talk to me a little bit about Mia and Daria developing as a doubles pair.
Yeah, it's Mia's had just tremendous improvement in her doubles. She played a lot of pro events this summer. She actually had a couple top 10 wins on the pro tour. They had the #1 doubles team in the world, lost in like a tiebreaker in the third set. So she's just really improved tremendously in her doubles, and it's really helped Daria come along. Daria, it's maybe taken her a little bit longer to get there in the doubles, and this year she's really shined in the doubles, and I think this is the way they complement each other. I think, Mia's perhaps her leadership a little bit more on the court has really helped Daria evolve into a very good doubles player, where that hasn't always necessarily been her strong suit in her early career.
Does indoor tell you anything about outdoor? Is there the way you finish an indoor season? Does it tell you how what kind of correlation is there?
Yeah, it's been pretty wild season with the indoor tennis. The good thing is our team is a very good indoor tennis team. A lot of that comes with just the game styles that a lot of our current players have. We weren't far away from winning a national title earlier in the season. We lost to Georgia in a fairly close 4-1 match, and we've played a ton of matches on the road indoors. So it changes a lot, though, outdoors, as we're getting also in the hotter temperatures. It's getting close to 90. I think this weekend's getting pretty high 80s, close to 90s, and just so many other factors kind of come into play. The points get a little bit longer in the outdoor tennis. We feel like that's to our advantage. We feel like we're in as good a conditioning as any team in the nation. We feel like we work as hard as any team in the nation, and as it gets more and more into a battle, we'll take that any day of the week. So that's a big part of why we play well at home, and the outdoor season always kind of enables us to play our best tennis. It changes a lot, just the tempo of the points, the duration of the points. So.
With an eye on the postseason, and obviously honoring the seniors, but still with the business at hand, with two huge opportunities this weekend, just talk about the balance, the mindset, also honoring those who help build a national championship power.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of, I hate to say distractions, but there's going to be a lot going on this weekend. So we have to stay in the present moment the best we can against South Carolina. They're a very feisty team, a very energetic team. No team probably plays with more energy than they do, and they kind of take some swings at you in the doubles. So, we have to really focus in on the Friday match. And not get too caught up in the Sunday match. It'll be number 1 against number 2 in the nation. I don't think that happens all that much anywhere, whether it's in Aggie land or somewhere else on the road. I think that's about as exciting as it gets. It'll be for a SEC title, assuming we win on Friday, and then. Yeah. Oh, by the way, we've got Senior Day, so we want to. There'll be a lot of emotions coming into play. Mary Schiano is the most decorated player in Texas A&M women's tennis history. It'd be so many great memories that we've had with her, and Jeanette Morellis from right down the road in North Houston. Her career's coming to an end, so it's going to be a lot to...
She's dealt with some injuries this year?
She's dealt with some injuries this year with her back and all, so she's fought hard to come back, and she played a bit in January and early February, and unfortunately kind of hasn't been able to get back to 100%. But
Are you an emotional guy?
I'm not a very emotional guy. When we get towards the late part of the season, a lot of wear and tear on the mind and the body can kind of get me a little more emotional than usual, but I'm not too emotional. I get a little emotional on Senior Day. And
I was going to say, because they brought a national championship. You have such a close relationship with them. They stuck together. That all plays a part.
Yeah, we've been through a lot over the last 4 years, have shared some amazing memories, and I'll definitely be a little sad, and usually Senior Day and the last match of the season kind of brings out that side of me a bit, but it's a lot to take in, and the glory years at Texas A&M women's tennis, they were both a part of those years.
You touched on South Carolina. What makes them dangerous?
Yeah, their number 1 player, Sarah Hamner's been, she was the top player in college tennis early on in her career, and she still plays at a very high level. That's always, when the number 1 player is one of the top players in the nation, that's always helps a team. It's a danger, and her and Mary have had a lot of history over the years, dating back to the juniors. They've had a lot of tough matches. Mary's gotten the better part of here recently, and they play very aggressive doubles. They'll play a lot of I formation in the doubles. They'll do a lot of poaching, a lot of moving at the net, so we'll have to be ready to counteract that. And they just are fist pumping, yelling, high-fiving, so they play with a lot of energy and emotions, and that can oftentimes help you to a certain extent. So,
and how different is Georgia this year than last year?
Georgia's a very similar team to last year. They pretty much have everyone back. They have a new player in at 6, but they pretty much have a very similar team to last year, just like we have a pretty similar team to last year. They started out on fire, and to their credit, they've been able to maintain all season. They've had 1 loss at home indoors to North Carolina, who's always very good in North Carolina. Other than that, they haven't lost yet this season. So they're a very confident team right now.
So help me understand the timeline. You got this weekend, then what does it look like over the next month?
Yeah, so Friday at 5 against South Carolina. Then we've got Georgia Sunday at noon, and then we'll take Monday off. And then we're actually going to get to the SEC tournament kind of early. That's always a tough one to kind of manage preparing for. We'll have the double bye starting on Friday. You got to be really prepared. You're playing a team that's already played a match on Thursday, and sometimes a team that's played on Wednesday and Thursday. We'll get there Tuesday evening, get a practice in, get acclimated to the courts. Once the tournament starts Wednesday, it's pretty hard to find practice time there, so we'll do our best to get some practices in Wednesday and Thursday. We'll have to come out ready to go Friday. It'll be one of those. You're playing probably a top 10 team, a top 15 team in the first round that's already played a match. I think we've got 6 teams in the top 10 and maybe 10 in the top 20 in the nation, so we got to be ready to go.
Mark, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming by.
Thanks for having me on.
Mark Weaver here on TexAgs Live. We'll come back with Gerrod Chadwell, talk a little Aggie women's golf. Right now, Ground Shuttle, they offer frequent and reliable shuttles from Bryan College Station to George Bush Intercontinental Airport. You can commute in style and comfort. They have the reclining seats. They got the power outlets. You can enjoy the ride, catch up on work, emails, take a nap, whatever it may be. They handle everything for you. You don't have to worry about parking at Bush, which is always a disaster. You can get dropped off at your house, your office, or you can utilize their convenient, secured on-site parking for free for the first 4 days. They have 9 shuttle times on the weekdays every hour and a half, and 5 shuttle times on the weekends every 2.5 hours. Excellent for business travelers, commuters, and kids trying to just get back home for a weekend, or when they're ready to go home this summer. The website is easy, groundshuttle.com. That is groundshuttle.com. Go check it out. Let's talk about the momentum that Aggie women's golf. That's my OB-ism here. The Aggie secured a dominant 38-shot victory at the Mo, and we got Gerrod Chadwell to talk about that. And looking ahead, what's up, sir?
Man, nothing. It's now officially Masters week, so we got from the Mo to Masters to SEC. So it's
So don't get mad at me, okay? Did you hear me talking to McGee earlier?
No.
You might get mad. I like the Masters, but it is not must tune in for me like it is for a lot of I know. I will watch it. I will catch it, especially if I know the storylines going in. I'm more interested in it. Like NCAA tournament basketball wise, it's like I have to watch it.
Yeah.
UFC fight night on Saturday night, I got to watch it. The Masters, I like it. I just need to know storylines to kind of get into it. But I will watch Saturday for a little bit. I'll watch Sunday, and if my dad's there, we'll watch my dad watches every second. So there's that part.
We'll get you caught up to speed.
Okay.
The back nine Sunday.
That is different. That's a different level.
And now you need to do like with your dad. Now you can order like the Masters food delivered. So you can have your like pimento cheese and all that stuff. So you guys could just have a good little Sunday afternoon.
I do watch Sunday. Yep. I just don't, and I'll probably watch a little bit today. I don't have to watch Friday. I catch Saturday.
You know what? Something you need to do is, it's funny. I won't delete it because it's literally the best app there is created. The Masters app.
Okay.
Like you can see every shot from every player.
Oh, is that right?
It's wild, but you can find your storylines on there, Nuño, so you'll be ready for the weekend.
Well, I mean, you're no stranger to Augusta. How was that?
It was, man. It's just first class.
Yeah.
In every way, shape, or form. Kata was very disappointed. Played
we talked
really,
to you
really well.
As she was going to the final round.
Yeah,
right?
We talked the final round. She got off to a good start and really battled all day. Didn't have her best for those 2 days and made a bogey late on her 17th hole and put her one outside of the cut line, and so went for 18 and 2 and didn't hit a bad shot, but really got in a position where it was tough to make a birdie and missed ultimately by 2. But she gets to spend the day at Friday at Augusta and play. But it just sucked for her.
Yeah.
But to that, we got back Saturday and Sunday. We're trying to get some prep done for the Mo, and I just pulled her aside Monday morning and just said, "Hey, I know you're tired. I am too. I got a lot of things going on, but you're going to get my best this week, and I want your best." And lo and behold, she plays really, really well for 54 holes with really nothing in the tank. So
SEC golfer of the week.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Which isn't it interesting that I know she would have much rather had a great Friday.
Absolutely.
But in the face of a less than spectacular finish, she does come out and
100%.
Just has an amazing few days.
And that young lady doesn't probably do that last year. I think that just speaks to the growth and maturity that she has gained. Grown in all that. Last year she was a freshman on a very, very upper class led team. So hopefully maybe she picked up some stuff from them and learned from them. And but it's crazy. She's just a sophomore. It feels like she's been here for a long time. So I'm proud of her for that. And really putting that behind her and digging in deep and competing really hard. Because Monday at the Mo was very tough.
Yeah.
We had a north wind, which golf courses around here aren't designed for a north wind. They're designed with the south wind in mind. And she emptied the tank on Monday.
I know you believe in momentum, but and not to borrow that term from the headline, but can momentum from one event, a home event, carry on to other events?
We hope so. I think we've had this spring, we've had a couple chances to win, 2 or 3. Actually, we've had more maybe than not, and really haven't played good in the final round. And, that was, all things considering, say what you want about the field, that was the best round we had all year. Because traditions is hard, and to shoot under par, and I think we had 4 scores.
Right?
Yeah, 4 scores under par. And really, it was, we had talked Sunday night, that the field suffered just because of the regional press. We got regional and traditions is coming out of a regrassing, but we set our standard. Regardless of the field, we set our standard. And Tuesday's round was I think what we needed to see all year, and at the right time to propel us into SECs and play some great golf.
You've mentioned obstacles this year. Can you kind of help us understand whatever you can share about some of the obstacles because I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's not just if you just run through the calendar year, we're young because we lose three people that are playing professional golf, and then you go through a fall with what we know now as an LPGA Tour player. You lose a Dell break, and I think in some ways we're a better team. Togetherness, but
You can't replace Adela from a golf score. Right. And I thought we would get better every week, and we have. You have everything going on with the house case and stuff that we don't know, and these young ladies' friends are, dealing with stuff and, cuts and everything that's going on in other sports that, we haven't got to that point yet because we still don't know. Mm-hmm. But, there's just, it's a lot of stuff going on. And, you're just trying to keep the main thing and playing some good golf and focusing on where your feet are. So,
isn't that crazy, though? Like that this is all happening soon, and yet there's no clarity.
We know nothing.
And you know nothing. And there's nothing, it's not like somebody can push a button and get you something either.
No, I know. And I'd say the department's done as best a job as they can. I mean, we know some things, and it feels like retract and we go forward, but I don't know, man. It's just, and we could do a whole nother segment on this. It's just crazy that this is what's going on, and nothing makes sense together. And you have different sports on different calendars, but nothing makes sense together.
Don't you think they should talk to the coaches that are, like, I'm just...
It's funny you say that. I thought this last night. Is like all this stuff going on. Is there a coach in the room?
Yeah.
Our administration's doing the best of the job. Is there a coach in the room? Because, I understand what they're trying to do the best they can for us. But we're the ones that live it on a daily basis. We have to make this make sense for roster retention, to maybe add to the roster, to fit all this into a competitive environment and on a scoreboard that we're ultimately judged on. And it just, none of it makes sense.
For somebody else to tell me how to do my show that's never done my show or doesn't have any background in my show, right? Like, we all work in sports. I work in sports. I couldn't tell you. I don't know what you're up against, right? And so we're getting off track, but I find it interesting because I talked to you and I talked to Mark earlier, and I'm just thinking this is all happening soon.
Yep.
And even for Coach Oko yesterday at the press conference, like, we don't know.
We don't know. And it's just like you're walking around waiting for the bomb to hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like you're supposed to pivot in what way possible. And so I guess you try and create all these scenarios so that when we do know what we need to know, we can pivot and go to that. But meanwhile, the clock is still ticking and seasons are going on, and, recruiting and all that stuff. So it's just, it's a pretty interesting time to be involved in college athletics.
Let's keep the main thing the main thing. The main thing is the golf. And Vanessa, but she have a few top 4 finishes this year.
Yes.
Talk about her development.
It's no different than Kata. Like she's, she doesn't seem like a freshman anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have her really best Monday, Tuesday, but really found something probably the last 12 holes on Tuesday that she was able to shoot it under par round. But it's just interesting you see with these young ladies, just the bad golf gets better and the good golf is really good. So that leads them to probably having some realistic opportunities outside of Texas A&M, when they graduate, that's what professional golf looks like. It's trying to make a cut on the weekend or get to a point where when your good golf does kick in, that you can really have a good week.
You mentioned some of the obstacles and having a young team, and I'm also reading that your program set a record 5 SEC weekly honors this season as a young team.
Yeah, and you thought, man, it's just I think we're doing a lot with this bunch right now, and it's really cool. And we only have 6, and so that's been a lot of fun because you do have a lot of time, and I feel like you can move the needle further quicker with just what we're dealt with the calendar. But yeah, it's crazy when I think Brandon sent that out, that's what's happened this year amongst all the other years. And then, it's nice that what we're going to be able to add to this bunch in the future. Scarlett had a great performance at the Masters, at the Masters at Anwa, and really is kind of just really hit a different trajectory here of late because she started golf so late. So we're excited to add that class with this bunch and go into next year.
So we got SEC championships coming up, postseason. Are there any aspects you're focusing on getting you there? What's the schedule like?
So if you ran through it really quick, we leave for SEC Saturdays. We come back. We actually have our fundraiser. April 25th at Traditions. For those that maybe haven't signed up or want to join the day with us to get to meet the young ladies, play a round of golf, steak dinner at Traditions. That's April 25th, and you can go to Aggie Women's Golf Club and sign up there. Then we will find out that next week where we get sent. Regionally, you have Lubbock, Norman, Phoenix. Then you have Kentucky, Virginia, and Ohio, those where all the regional sites are at. So you kind of hope for something regionally located so you don't change time zones or grass, but that's what our schedule tries to accommodate, so we get a feel for that. And then at whatever regional site we get sent to, we got to finish top 5 to go to the national championship. And all that happens within about a month and a half.
Wow. Is there anything in particular right now, or is it now just getting the mind right?
Getting the mind right, resting up, and by the way, we don't talk about academics really in anything that's going on anymore. There's there's finals, so we're just really trying to make sure they stay healthy, hydrate, sleep, get their bodies right, stay on top of their academics, and kind of push them across the finish line. But it's crazy all that from August it comes down to this month, which is our favorite time of the year.
Sounds like you're going to be on the show quite a bit over the next month, man.
I look forward to it.
Thank you. Appreciate you very much. Yep. When we come back, we'll do the fan show. Right now, we're talking Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They're on Highway 21 in Caldwell. They're online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. When you're looking for a new vehicle, start your search there online. You'll see what they have. If you can make out the drive, it's about a 15-minute drive. You're going to see the selection that they have, SUVs. They have a great selection of trucks, really known for their trucks. They're known for everything. And again, that customer service, second to none. Complimentary pickup and delivery for their service customers. Also, free oil changes for life on the life of your purchase as long as you own that car from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. We're talking about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the world famous
fan show of the Masters Week.
Of the Masters Week. Masters shirt, polo shirt, and a TexAgs shirt here on the fan show on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Roy May, Kevin Ricketts with us. We're going to start things off at the Angry Elephant Using Social Center. Caitlin Torn, ask the most hard question they're going to get all day.
What is on y'all's minds?
Mr. Ricketts, you start us off.
Well, can we continue the boys of Bluebell continue their success that they had against Tennessee and take the series away from South Carolina and continue to progress, hopefully, toward making a regional? And then how in the world is our new basketball coach going to fill a roster?
Yeah. Roy, what do you think about this? And Kevin, I'm doing what the players shouldn't be doing. I'm thinking about what's after South Carolina. And if they do that, they're going to lose to South Carolina, and then everything that happened against Tennessee goes by the wayside, right?
Right.
They need to be focused on South Carolina and not do what I just did.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, it's always just the 50-meter target, right? It's the most important game is the one you're about to play. And going to Knoxville and doing what we did was, one, completely out of the blue, honestly. And I know that the offense had been getting better, but Tennessee was number one in the country. So that's kind of out of the blue to, like, we got run ruled, and I posted this on social media. It's like it's like the team was an addict. Like, they had to hit absolute rock bottom for them to turn it around, because getting no hit and run ruled as a SEC baseball team that's rock bottom.
Yeah.
And then they just come out and absolutely blow the doors off the balls, like, for 2 games. It was the offense and the team that we expected to see all year long. But I think I think these guys, they've been through it, this season. I mean, they've been through the ringer this season already. So I can't imagine that they're overlooking South Carolina by any means.
Yep. What's on your mind?
I mean, there's a million things, right? That's happened in the last 7 days. Obviously the Tennessee thing, a new basketball coach, and it's Masters Week, which I love, best week of the year. But what's on my mind is probably basketball mostly, just because that's a roster to fill, like truly a roster to fill. And you've got to give a new coach grace, and it's not because he's necessarily coming from a mid-major or anything like that. Like, a new coach has to have a little grace anyways in today's athletic environment with NIL and people transferring regularly to begin with. Even just like when you're a stabilized coach, you have to recruit your own roster. And so I'll be interested to see how he hits the trail. I've been impressed with everything I've heard from him so far. Young, ton of energy. I think it's great for this program. And he understands that. He said he's got to get to work on the roster. But hey, big series this weekend over at Davis.
Yeah,
I'll be there on Saturday to watch the ladies hopefully just beat the Everland crap out of LSU. So they're number 3 in the nation. They are rolling, Wyatt.
They are rolling. Let's focus on this Bucky hire for a moment, because Paul Feinbaum said that he could see Bucky getting A&M closer to a Final Four than Buzz. And I don't think that was a shot at Buzz. I think Buzz is very good at building a nice program. And we don't know what Bucky can build yet, right? But the brand of offense, the way he talks, Kevin, like there's something that I can see why people are so high on him.
Absolutely. And his press conference was a home run, I thought. He has so much confidence, and he's so confident that he's going to build that championship program here. I love that he said that we would lead the country in scoring.
Yeah.
It will be a completely different basketball team style than what we've seen for the last 5-6 years under Buzz.
Well, I think coming from, and you kind of hit on it. Buzz built a nice program, and we've seen that everywhere he goes. Every 5 to 6 years he moves on. I don't know if you saw the tweet about
I saw that
snail.
video, yeah.
The snail.
Oh, no.
Somebody said something about Buzz acts like he's got a snail chasing him because he moves on about every 5 to 6 years. And then somebody said, well, the average speed of a snail is blank. And if it were a demonic snail, like you call it, so he was chasing you 24 hours a day from Virginia Tech to A&M, it would take him 5.4 years for that snail to catch him. So it's hilarious. I think a lot of where Feinbaum's coming from, too, is, I know he went to Tennessee, but he's obviously a big Alabama guy. And he saw the Nate Oates. Yep. The Nate Oates project turned into the Nate Oates success story. And though we don't know what Bucky can build here or at a tier 1 institution, he's been coaching since he was 17, and he's built things everywhere he's gone. Yep. And I understand that doesn't necessarily translate, but And you'll just hear it ad nauseum that, Nate Oates did the same thing, coming from high school, successful in college, plays a young, interesting, like fun, exciting brand of basketball. And hearing him say we're going to lead the nation in scoring, like that fires me up. I love it. I don't like slugfest in college basketball. I'd rather them just run and gun.
I'm going to talk out of two sides of my mouth. I want to see the highest scoring team in the country. I want to see an offensive team, especially after what we just saw. But I said in the top segment of the show, I don't care how you win if you win. If you win with a slug match, great. I just want to win, and I want to win consistently. And I don't want our teams being pretenders. I want us to be contenders, and that's to me what matters, Roy.
Well, and I think what's interesting, you saw a lot of people as soon as it was announced it was the hire. A ton of people that know a lot more about college basketball than me dove in and found articles and found videos all about buckyball. And what was interesting to me was his emphasis on offense, which I love. Right. But also his emphasis on defense. Like, hey, we're going to press. So this is, I'm trying to find an offensive kind of comparison. But, I grew up watching 60 Minutes of Hell 40 Minutes of Hell with Nolan Richardson, those Arkansas teams.
Yep.
And so if you have the team with the kind of conditioning, ability, and talent to play high-flying, high-scoring basketball on one end and be able to play that pressing defense on the back end, like I think we are going to see just basketball we've never seen before here. And I think it's going to be an absolute blast. I hope he can put the roster together to do it.
Yep.
And considering, Kevin, that A&M has never really been known as a basketball school, but if you're going to be in the SEC, you better be good at all sports, the big three. Like you better, and it's not just being happy making the tournament. It's being happy making a run in the tournament.
That's right. I love Texas A&M basketball. We go to all the games. My wife loves Texas A&M basketball, and it's going to be fun to watch this team. It may be hard this year.
Yeah.
We don't have anybody on the team yet. It's going to be interesting to see who we get.
Yeah.
But it'll be fun to watch this team grow.
All right, let's talk about position groups on football, okay? That you maybe had questions about at the end of last season. Maybe even had a question about you're starting to feel better about. We did a buy-sell lease earlier with McGee on it. Is there a group, and Roy started us off, that you're like, I've had some questions, but this reason I feel better? Is there a group?
Well, I mean, I think it's fair to say that there were a handful of groups that we had questions about, right? Wide receiver was a question because who we lost and who we brought in. Maybe they're good, maybe they're not. So that's TBD, maybe. Yeah. And how they mess with Marcel. But I'm really not concerned about any of the groups. Like, there's a glaring concern kind of thing because secondary, we had, injury issues, right? We've got one of the top leading linebackers coming back. The front seven, there's going to be questions, but again, that's a TBD. I don't know. The thing I'm most excited about probably is the running back room, just because with everybody healthy and knowing and seeing with my own eyes when Le'Veon Moss went down, what it did.
Yeah.
Right. And so being able to bring him back into the fold with the talent that we know that's also in that room, I don't know that would be it was a concern, but that's probably the group that I'm really looking forward to most. Just not for pounding in between the tackles, but for the dynamic outside, screen game, getting the ball in space. So I'm excited about the running backs as long as they stay healthy.
Kevin?
Yeah, of course, it all starts with the offensive line when you're on offense. And last season we had the injury bug on our offensive line. It'll be interesting to see how they progress this year. We get Mark Naboo back. Love Chase Besantis, and it'll be interesting to see their growth.
Isn't it interesting that for a moment I forgot that there was an injury, and I was like, oh yeah, Mark Naboo, our starting center, went down super early.
Yep.
And that is probably the most consistent group that we had last year. If not probably, I think they were. And they could even be better.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is you say they had the injury bug, and then you think back, like, the whole team just had the injury bug last year.
But that's just been A&M athletics and baseball this year. Football since 2021. Like every year it's been quarterback.
It just felt pronounced last year. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's hit a break. We'll continue down a little bit football, and then we'll also talk some baseball and softball. Right now, we're talking bird dog. If you like to hunt, if you've got land, listen up, because Bird Dog's going to take care of you. Hunters out there, they'll set up all the logistics for you. They're an Airbnb for hunting experiences. They'll set it all up from your private chef to your concerts to your helicopter hunts. You name it, they take care of it for you as a hunter. If you're a landowner, they'll find you hunters on your land. They'll also find you some tax benefits on your land. Some of their clients are making an extra $100 to $500 per acre of land, and you don't even have to run hunts on your land. You can do that, it's great. But if you just run cattle or you have any kind of farming, they will take care of you and make you that money. The website is birddogit.com. I want you to remember them for all your full-service hunting experiences, and for landowners, let them help you make money on your ranch. Bird Dog at birddogit.com. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Guys, baseball-wise, offensive explosion recently. Starting to play like the offense that we hoped they would be. Is it sustainable, Roy?
I mean, if you can do it 2 games in a row against as many different pitchers as they did it on the road, then the talent is there, therefore it's sustainable.
Yep.
Right? Because Tennessee pitching is legit, right? Now, run ruling and being ridiculous and hitting 11 homers in 2 games, is that sustainable? I don't know. That was a little insane.
Right.
But they need to show it this weekend. They need to show that it's sustainable. And, hitting Garner's confidence. And, when you get a team that starts getting confident, the baseball starts to look like a beach ball, coming across the plate. Bear must be, it must look 5 feet wide for him right now. Along with a couple other guys, Royo, great weekend. Obviously, Cade Sorrell, who's sorely missed. And it's nice to see him, when he first came back, it was no matter what he hit, he was kind of having to jog to first. It looks like he's a lot more up to speed, a lot faster than I thought he'd be, considering how he looked when we first brought him back. It's the old adage, hitting's contagious. So you're coming back home, right? So
they're 3-9 in SEC play. They've got 18 games left.
Mm-hmm.
They probably need to win 10 of those 18 games. How doable, possible, considering Murderer's Row that's still ahead?
Yeah, it is.
It starts this weekend, though.
Yeah, it does.
It starts tonight.
Competition is so tough, and the SEC, the pitching is so good. And I was listening to Brauninger earlier. He says it much better than I ever could. But you're as good as your next at bat.
Yep.
And they just have to string some at bats together. Last 6, 8, 10 games, they've scored a lot of runs, which is great, except for that one no-hit game. And, of course, you can't let that happen anymore.
Yeah.
Well, and none of those runs count tonight.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. And baseball players are built a little bit different. It's a game built on failure. Like, I get it, right? You go 3 for 10 for a lifetime, you're probably going to end up in the Hall of Fame. That's how difficult this game is. 1 out of every 3 times you hit the ball, you're going to the Hall of Fame pretty much. And so the biggest thing for me is, them grasping that. But baseball players are different. I think they understand that. If they... if this was the kind of team that dwelled on a ton of stuff, then Saturday never would have happened.
Yep.
Because Friday was so bad, right? Saturday never would have happened. But they came out Saturday, came to work, and what they put together was an absolute blast to watch them.
Yeah.
No pun intended, with 11 of them. But it's that ability to, like Brian said, it's what happened is in the past. You can't let a bad shot beat you. You can't let good shots allow you to miss.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of being where your feet are, and it's every at bat, every play, every pitch. And this team has shown that they have that focus. Our starting pitching has been, for the most part, really good. The team ERA is great, and so if you can combine that with the hitting, so this weekend I think is going to tell us a whole lot after what we did.
Kevin, the series is a must-win. Tonight's not a must-win, but tonight could go a long way in making sure that the series is a must-win series. So, they have to have the South Carolina series if there's any chance. Because if they lose this series, we're talking about maybe being 4-11. It just becomes that much more insurmountable.
Well, that's right. And, of course, we start Ryan Prager on night 1, and Ryan Prager is a great starting pitcher.
Yep.
Great day 1 pitcher, and he's struggled a couple of times, and so somebody's seeing something about him. Was listening to Mike earlier, and he was saying that we just have to figure out what they're seeing and how we're going to do something a little bit different. But they have to win tonight. They have to win this series, and it starts with tonight.
Yeah, and also softball. Roy, you're going to start us off here because they also have a Murderer's Row coming up, but they're home this weekend. Big one against Georgia. Excuse me, is it Georgia?
No, they beat up on Georgia last weekend. Yeah,
South Carolina.
KK DeMint being player of the week. She was
amazing.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And she's a freshman. Lessington's a freshman, and you see stuff like that, and you understand the importance of building a program the right way, and that's what Trisha Ford's doing. Mm-hmm. It's not super. I mean, obviously you got Emily in the circle, and she's just a monster. But building that depth and that age depth as well. So this is not a one-off kind of season for me. This is the program that Trisha Ford has built. So a huge series, but SEC softball is no different than baseball. It's a murderer's row no matter who you're playing and where you're playing them. But what has impressed me the most is you go on the road to Georgia, and the thought process is, just go win the series. You're good enough to do it. You're a top 5 team. They're top. I think they were 16th when we played them. So win the series, right? It's not like baseball where you just avoid getting swept on the road and win series at home. But then to go on the road and do it to Georgia the way they did it, and again, that's a top 20 team. This team just every weekend continues to show us the quality of just offense, defense, everything they play, every aspect of this game Trisha Ford's got a lock on it. That coaching staff has done such a great job, and the kids get it too.
We got to drop it right there. Kevin, Roy, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for TexAgs Live on a Thursday. Hopefully, we're talking about an Aggie baseball win tomorrow. We'll have Bronny in Vegas. We'll have the baseball bunch guys. We'll have more. It's TexAgs.